What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 7th Chapter 151 Aizen, Silver, Tusen Kanami, Previous Chapter. Next chapter advertisement, Summon Saitama-sensei. As Davey's voice fell, the system's prompt sounded soon. Ding, the target exceeds the specified level and cannot be summoned. Davey frowned, lost in thought. Can Saitama be summoned? Isn't this bald head's limiter not limited to, but effective in that universe? Saitama can't even summon it, so those terrifying powerhouses in the Dragon Ball universe, or Xuanwan, those terrifying existences. The horror is also far beyond the 8th order, and it is estimated that the 10th order god level started. Gee. Forget it, let's summon that guy. Finally, after thinking for a moment, Davey continued. System, choose to summon, Aizen Sosuke. Davey finally decided to call out Aizen, the villain with great villain charm in the second dimension. Espada has all been collected, isn't this Aizen incomplete? Ding. You have consumed a platinum level designated summoning ticket to choose the character open black lens bracket Aizen Sosuke close black lens bracket from the Shinigami boundary, to be summoned, 35. Ding, because the character is below the 8th rank, we will compensate 2 followers of the character. 66. Is Aizen only level 7? And there is a surprise? 2 followers, could it be Tusen Kanami and Silver, these 2 guys? So which period will this Aizen trio be summoned to? The Captain period, or the Collapse period, or the Bloody Battle period Aizen? Another dimension, the world of Shinigami, Soul Society, inside the true prison. Advertisement Aizen, who was sealed in the infernal prison, suddenly let out a light murmur. He felt a mysterious force wrap around his body. Aizen was puzzled, but after feeling this mysterious power, he had no ill will towards him. He was aroused by curiosity, when he wanted to see what kind of power this was and what it was going to do to him. What he did not expect was that this power up to the power of the source actually released the power to travel through dimensions. The next moment he was enveloped by this force, teleported out of this world, and he could perceive that he was actually shuttled through dimensions in an instant and came to a different space. And at the moment when Aizen disappeared, a terrifying aura suddenly broke into the prison, watching the silence in the empty prison cell. A dignified look appeared in his eyes, and his face became extremely ugly. Aizen, he just disappeared so suddenly, now the 3 realms are in trouble again. In the hell on the other side, the 2 souls suddenly flickered, and then a mysterious force descended. Forcibly break the wall of the dimension and take away the 2 soul packages. Inside the king's palace, a Uzumaki door slowly appeared. The 3 men in the costumes of the Void Palace stepped out of Uzumaki. After seeing Davey sitting on the throne, he knelt down on one knee and said, Aizen Sosuke. Silver, Tusen Kanami. Allegiance to you, your majesty the king. Seeing Aizen worshipping in front of him, Davey's mouth lifted slightly, feeling a little happy. Perhaps only a guy like Aizen who has touched a corner of a higher dimension will really understand how terrifying Davey's power is. Forcibly break multiple dimensions and plunder people directly. But think about it, the characters who were summoned by him are also 100% loyal. To be honest, there are countless existences like Aizen in the heavens and the world. Well, get up, Aizen, Silver, Tusen Kanami. Feeling that his own realm of strength has improved again, Davey chuckled and said gently to the 3 of them. Advertisement, yes, my lord. The 3 of Aizen stood up in response. At this time, Aizen came back to his senses. Looking at the 2 people beside him, he was a little surprised. But then the horns rose slightly, revealing a mysterious smile. Have both dead Silver and Tusen Kanami been summoned to life? As expected of the king, this level of power is no different from a god, right? Silver and Tusen Kanami next to them were also shocked. Both of them are dead and in hell. I didn't expect that one day I would be able to be resurrected and summoned. It's so appalling. Yin instinctively wanted to do it, but the mysterious power in his mind calmed him down. Are you a partner again? Yin helpless, hung up a harmless squinting smile. Yin, please, stay safe. Aizen greeted the 2 with a chuckle. Lord Aizen, Tusen Kanami called out in a heavy voice, a little excited. I'll ask Captain Aizen for more advice in the future. Yin smiled with narrowed eyes. Katakana middle dot for flowers. Looking at the exchange between the 3 people below, Davey suddenly had the urge to laugh. It was so interesting. The enemies who had already cut each other in a showdown can only reconcile with a smile now. This scene in front of me is a bit funny. Davey didn't interrupt the reminiscence of the 3. He clicked on the attribute panel belonging to Aizen. Open black lens bracket Aizen Sosuke close black lens bracket rank, 7th order true king. Race. Shinigami, soul spirit advertisement talent, super intelligent mind, gifted. Abilities. Chopping fist ghost walk, super Ryatsu wall. Space shuttle, void walk. Hollow technology, Shinigamiization technology, soul foreign object extraction technology, negation bandit, calligraphy. Click to view. Weapon. Zanpakudo Kyoga Suigetsu comprehensive evaluation. Breaking the cocoon into a butterfly, not breaking, not standing, the real king of the 7th order real king of the world, a highly charismatic and high IQ figure. This is Aizen during the Millennium Blood War? Davey was refreshed after reading Aizen's profile. The strength of the 7th rank is the realm he expected. And coupled with the final comprehensive evaluation, the phrase, break the cocoon into a butterfly will not break and stand. Doesn't this describe Aizen, who was defeated and imprisoned after Banquet? Moreover, he has directly transformed his strength into the Order of the Myriad Realms, possessing various abilities of this realm. Thanks to Aizen's realm strength feedback, Davey also has these abilities. Good. With the current strength of Aizen, after he has mastered the realm ability, if the opponent is released into the Shinigami world. Davey thought, probably no one else had anything to do with it. Because this is a double crush in dimension and latitude. In the realm of a single dimension, take the lead to fight against the powerhouses of the 10,000 world level? My lord, can I ask for something? Suddenly, Aizen, who had reminisced with the two for a while, asked mildly. What's the matter? Davey asked calmly when he recovered. Well, I'm very interested in this world, can you let me wait for the three of them to leave for a while? Aizen said with a smile. Davey tilted his head and suddenly had a premonition that Aizen, the bad guy, wanted to do something bad. Chapter 152 Kingdom Relocation, Power of God, second update, please subscribe automatically. Previous chapter next chapter advertisement. Davey knows Aizen well, this guy can really do things. Now that his strength has improved and he has obtained many abilities, Aizen's ability to do things may be even better. As you wish. 35 After thinking for a moment, Davey waved his hand lazily. Since Aizen wants to wander around this world, he can let him go. Anyway, the current Christie Kingdom does not lack high-end combat power, and the combat power is more than enough. Aizen's trip with the three might bring him some unexpected joy. What's more, Davey didn't think Aizen would betray him. In terms of strength alone, although his strength has not yet broken through the 7th rank, Davey thinks that 10 Aizens are coming, and I am afraid that it is not enough for him. Of course, there is another that, as long as he has a thought to issue an order. Aizen, 097, who is a summoned character, will also collapse and perish directly. Thank you, Lord King. Hearing this, Aizen bowed his waist and thanked him immediately. The same goes for Jin and Tusen Kanami, thank you very much. In fact, for the two of them, Davey can resurrect them, which is the greatest kindness. Watching the backs of the three leave, Davey stroked the mountain in his hands. Tusen Kanami continued to follow Aizen, Davey understood. But this guy, Jin, followed Aizen with the goal of backstabbing Aizen since he was a child. The Hueco Mundo war chapter is over. How can two people who are enemies of life and death blend together? What does this old fox want to do? Forget it, why think so much? 35. Advertisement summons a 7th order Aizen, and also comes with 2 6th order silver and Tusen Kanami. Not bad. In the original work, Tusen Kanami's strength is the level of killing Jay Lu in seconds, and in the setting in the original work. Tusen Kanami and Jin are the strengths above Espada. Leaving aside Tusen Kanami's performance for the time being, in terms of silver alone, it is definitely superior to Espada. Bankai directly hit Hogyoku Aizen, to know that Aizen at that time can be said to be a super-dimensional existence. But it was hit hard by silver and was forced to catalyze the next stage. As for Tusen Kanami's strength, Davey can only say that Tusen Kanami after Hollow is a vain person, and his strength is there. But the mentality can't be exploded, it's just abolished. It's just the strength level of 3 or 4 blades in Espada. The first 3 Espada, Stark had no intention of fighting at all. The arrogance and contempt of the Great Skeleton led to his defeat. Hannibal fought for no reason at all, and was frozen by Deshiro in confusion. After breaking the ice, he was almost full when he came out, and was cut down by Aizen again, and he lost his combat effectiveness. The top 3 Espadas didn't fully burst out with the strength they should have, and the Espada core was wiped out. Xiao Wu. I really can't do anything when I encounter a player who is under pressure. Shaking his head, Davey stopped thinking about it. Looking at Ram, who was snuggled in his arms, with a ruddy face and blurred eyes. Davey chuckled and lowered his head for a light kiss. It's time for the special training of 2 little maids, and the profound meaning guides the practice. 2 days later, advertisement on the Kingdom Hall. At this moment, the King's Hall was almost full of people. Esdes, Espada core 1 to 6 blades and 8 blades with Yami. Yun Yun, Medusa, Nangang Nea, the Tornado Fubuki sisters, and many other summoned characters, and finally, the ministers of the kingdom. All stood on both sides, respectfully looking at Davey on the throne, waiting for him to announce the big event. In the crowd, Kuzan's face was full of dignified horror. He really did not expect that there are so many terrifying powerhouses in Christie Kingdom. Especially the woman in military uniform standing beside King Davey's throne. That terrifying icy aura, even he could feel the incomparably powerful sense of terrifying oppression on his body all the time. Sengoku-san, your guess is correct, Naval Headquarters. There is no capital to fight Christie Kingdom at all. Seeing these terrifying powerhouses in abundance, Kuzan sighed heavily. Afterwards, he came back to his senses and looked at Davey seriously. Today, there are 10 specific things to be announced, presumably you should also know. On the throne, Davey, who noticed Kuzan's strangeness, laughed secretly in his heart. There was no need to summon so many people to the main hall, after all, only one person can do the relocation of the entire island. It is only necessary for the ministers to issue orders and notices, so that the citizens do not feel any sense of crisis. But since Kuzan is here, Davey doesn't mind letting the other party see the terrifying power of Christie's kingdom. Yes, my lord. The crowd responded. This news had been known to them long before Aokiji arrived. Well, next to the relocation of Kanoma Island, this king will leave some people behind, as well as the Manos Grande Legion to guard the waters. For the rest, go to New World with you. Advertisement. Next, Davey started issuing orders one after another. After the relocation of Christie Kingdom, Davey left behind several ministers and 50,000 kingdom army. Hundreds of Jillian Manos Grande, 100,000 low-level virtual. There are also 5 heads carried by him to Ronkar's Ajuka's Manos Grande. This Legion defense force will be stationed on a nearby kingdom. Control this 10,000 miles of sea area, dozens of kingdoms, and control more than 200,000 troops. 5 Arankar Ajuka's Manos Grande, 5 admiral-level combat power. Even if 2-4 Emperor's regiments came, they would have to die, so Davey was relieved. After everything was explained, Davey stepped out of the main hall and walked to the empty square. Many summoned figures accompanied the ministers, watching Davey flying into the sky, looking forward to what their king would do. 5.3 The whole country, no, relocate the island. Is this really something humans can do? The ministers were somewhat disbelieving and unbelievable. But the summoners have no doubts that Davey can do it. Even the entire nation who received the news announcement was waiting with great anticipation for the miracle to come. In the anticipation of all eyes, Davey stands on the throne of the sky. The horns rose slightly, revealing an unprecedented heroic and uninhibited hockey attitude. In case the elephant is sighted every day, the 4 characters fell, and Davey's eyes suddenly turned into circles of purple, followed by a few hooked jade. Rinnegan. Chapter 153 9 Go Jade Reincarnation Sharingan. The world is shocked. 3rd. Previous chapter next chapter advertisement do not. It should be said that it is the reincarnation Sharingan. Because Davey evolved it, it directly became the Rinnegan of the 6 Go Jade, and then the Sharingan of the 9 Go Jade reincarnation. Davey spent 10,000 origin points to evolve it to the level of the Sharingan of the 9 Go Jade reincarnation. And its power is much stronger than the original. Universal pull. A circle of ripples spread and stirred, and then the entire Kanoma Island shook. The whole island was humming, an invisible force pulled, and the island trembled as it swayed. With a flash of light in Davey's eyes, under his control, the rock formations below Kanoma Island burst, slowly fractured and separated from the seabed crust. Under the eyes of millions of people, they found that they were flying. No, it was the islands that floated up and they were lifted up. Universal pull plus the dual control of telekinesis 18, a huge island of more than 13,000 square kilometers floats up. There was a deafening rumbling sound in the ears, the waves rolled and surging, and a large amount of seawater continued to fill the pit. God. This is the power of God, my king is a god. The gods are above, the king is the god. 6,699. The ministers and officials of the kingdom knelt down one after another and chanted the name of Davey aloud, as if they really regarded Davey as a god. Advertisement not to mention the princes and ministers in these kingdoms, the millions of people in the kingdom are already boiling. They all knelt down in the streets and alleys and worshipped in the direction of the palace, calling out to King Davey's great achievements. Pulling up and suspending an entire island unharmed, to be able to do this kind of miracle, what is it if it is not a god? Looking at the island that does not allow the height to rise slowly, the summoned characters are also shocked. To be able to pull up and suspend an entire island unharmed, what kind of mighty power can it achieve to such an extent? Wow, Mr. Davey, it's amazing, a group of female summoning characters, Esdes, Hannibal and other crowds. Mermaid Princess Shiroshi looked at Davey in the sky with admiration and admiration. Sure enough, is Lord Davey the prince she was meant to be? They will have children in the future. Thinking of this, Shiroshi's pale and pink face turned red and shy. HMPH, as expected of my man, Esdes is also the first time to witness the power of Davey, a little shocked. But thinking that he is a woman belonging to the other party, Tsunere can't help but snort, and he is also happy for Davey's terrifying power. If at night Davey overwhelms her with this overwhelming force, then... Esdes hurriedly shook his head lightly, but the delicate whiteness showed a blush, adding to the fragrance. Really looking forward to it. For flowers, it's awesome. As a person with psychic power, Tornado can see how terrifying the gravitational force and psychic power that pulls up the island. With her psychic power, she can distort an entire city. Advertisement, but there is absolutely no way to do such a terrifying act as Davey, it's too scary. I am afraid that only the legendary god-level disaster itself can achieve this step. The summoning characters have different ideas in their hearts, but in the final analysis, it is Shock and Davey's terrifying strength. The island is still rising. I don't know how long it took. The island reached an altitude of more than 6,000 meters, and it stopped rising. Davey knew that there were some sky islands in the clouds. Going up to a height of 7,000 meters is Bai-Hai, and above 10,000 meters is Bai-Hai Sky Island. He doesn't always pay attention to the flight path of Kanoma Island, although he lowers the flight altitude to avoid accidents. Although he also has the ability, or let his subordinates take care of it to solve it. However, the height of more than 6,000 meters is enough. As for the downside of the island being in flight? With a telekinetic shield covering it, it's not a big problem. Okay, let's fly straight towards New World like this, we'll be there in a few days. I'm tired. After doing all this, Davey stretched out with haha. A black energy ball is released at will, and then a layer of transparent coating is wrapped. In this way, he broke away from Davey's men, quietly exuding a halo, suspended above the sky. After placing a core that controls the flight of the island on its own, Davey flew into the palace and no longer cares about it. With this core, he can move freely without having to worry too much. Mr. Davey, you are amazing. As soon as he fell, Davey was caught by a huge slender jade hand, held by Shiroshi and stuck into the soft mountain and white greasy. Advertisement, cough, okay, Shiroshi, put me down. Davey patted in pain and enjoyment, making Shiroshi put himself down. The princes and ministers and the summoned characters are all watching. This is not good, let's go back to the bedroom and play with it. Humph. It's all about the charm of an alien race. Seeing Davey doting Shiroshi so much, Esdes snorted coldly. I was thinking about how to 097 clean up Davey at night. It's just that she forgot who had been instructed to practice the profound truth dozens of times, and at the end she was exhausted physically and mentally, and she couldn't walk for a few days. At the same time, the entire island of Christie's kingdom is relocated. It was sent back to their respective forces by the intelligence personnel of the major forces hidden in the kingdom. Soon the news spread like wildfire, spread all over the world, and major newspapers and magazines released news. So, the whole world is boiling in an instant. Following Shichibukai Doflamingo's heavy damage to the four emperors Kaido of the Beasts, he narrowly defeated Kaido. After Kaido won to kill Doflamingo, he was stopped by the fourth Espada Ulquiorra, and Kaido finally escaped. After this shocking news, Christie Kingdom once again set off a storm that shook the world. Will the entire island be relocated with the kingdom, or will it be relocated by flying thousands of meters into the sky? This is probably something that only the legendary gods can do. Even the legendary pirate from decades ago, the lion fruit ability of the Golden Lion, doesn't have such terrifying power. Chapter 154 The Discussion of the Five Elders. Fourth more, please complete the order. Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement G1 Branch Base, New Naval Headquarters. Bang. What did you say? How is this possible? Hearing the news from the intelligence officer, Sakaris suddenly stood up and smashed down with a heavy punch, directly smashing the desk. The information is completely true, Marshal Sarakakis. This is the photo I took, and I will send the information back to the headquarters immediately. 35.99 After a while, looking at the photos in his hand, Sakaris fell into contemplation. Golden Lion's lion fruit ability. No. The Golden Lion had been defeated by the Straw Hat crew before, captured by Marine, thrown into prison, and died not long after. And Golden Lion didn't have such a terrible level of ability at its peak. Christie Kingdom. How did that Davey do it? Christie Kingdom is going to enter the New World? Looking at the information in his hand, Sakaris was suddenly shocked. He has a bad premonition that if the Kingdom of Christie enters the New World, extremely terrifying things will definitely happen. After all, Christie Kingdom has a new action every time, which has not set off a big event that shocked the world. This kingdom is utterly poisonous and terrible. I know, continue to observe and report the situation at any time, Sakaris said solemnly. Yes, Marshal, the intelligence officer responded in a low voice. After hanging up the contact phone bug, the middle-aged man in a suit breathed a sigh of relief. After 2 more years of work, this achievement is enough for me to be promoted to Lieutenant Colonel, and I can also get a lot of rewards. Advertisement The Marine intelligence officer thought happily. Staying in this kingdom, you don't have to do anything. All you need to do is report back every time Christie Kingdom moves. There is no danger to life at all. Go to get off work and listen to some situation reports. Life is beautiful. Marine's intelligence officer adjusted his tie and walked out of the alley with a smile. But what he didn't find was that, from the beginning to the end, there was a figure hidden in the shadows, watching him silently. Davey has no interest in dealing with these secret sons lurking in Christie's kingdom. Naturally, there are night raid troops and ghost ninjas to deal with. Keep those who should be kept, and all those who shouldn't be put to death. An intelligence officer like Marine wouldn't have much need to clean it up. Because they don't get any useful information at all. What if I learned about Christie's movements? Christie really took action. Does Naval Headquarters have the ability to deal with it? Red Line, Holy Land Marijoa, inside the Supreme Council. The 5 old men gathered and sat down. What do you think about the Christie Kingdom? Seeing that the scene was a little quiet, 5 elders, a huge fat bearded bald head, asked. He was the most fiery of the 5 elders, and he couldn't help it when the others didn't express their opinions. The last time Christie's kingdom was in transit, there was already a little bit of rambling. This time Davey pulled up the entire island and flew in the direction of the New World. And the path will inevitably cross over the Holy Land. What do you think? How to deal with it this time? Advertisement. As soon as these words came out, several 5 elders fell into contemplation and did not rush to speak. This is the center of power that runs the world, the Red Line Marijoa. If a kingdom island were to fly directly over their heads, then the story of this matter would be huge. Isn't this walking through the red line on the face of the Holy Land? If a huge island passes by like a black cloud over the city, how much impact will it have on the Holy Land? Isn't there any important information from the CP organization? A bald old man with glasses and a white kimono, the 5 elders with the surname Tianyue asked. He is the Five Elders, a powerful swordsman who holds the first-generation demon sword Guido. And the position is also suspected of the existence of master military power. No, Christie Kingdom has too many high-level combat power, and they are also very vigilant about intelligence. There are also those ghost ninjas who can't get close to the core at all. The square-faced blonde Five Elders shook his head, a little helpless. Humph. What a bunch of rubbish, the bearded Five Elders sneered in dissatisfaction. Then, when the other party passes here, should we take measures to knock them down? If they destroy their island and fall from a height of 6,000 to 7,000 meters, they will be almost dead. Goatee Five Elders asked. No, it doesn't work. 35. With a cane and a black hat, the old man suspected of Master's World Law rejected this plan. Most of the strong men in Christie Kingdom can stand in the sky, and Davey's strength is not so simple, he is a very scary guy. If you want to attack the opponent, you must gather the high-level combat power of naval headquarters, plus the combat power of our holy land, to destroy the opponent. 99. But the consequences? If we don't use the national treasure, we will win, and we will just have a tragic victory. Instantly, the ones who benefit the most are the pirates and the underworld. And those kingdoms. Advertisement in the end, the old man with black hat and crutches didn't say anything. After all, in the world government 800 years ago, more than 20 kingdoms rebelled against their superiors. So, in the final analysis, there is a lack of high-end combat power. Naval headquarters is still undergoing world recruitment and guarding the new world. How can there be so much power for the world government to rally? Then you say, what are you going to do? The grumpy bearded Five Elders exasperated. This doesn't work, that doesn't work, what the hell is going on with this damn Christie Kingdom? Jiaoan, Nuo Jiao, the goatee Five Elders came out of nowhere. 66.99 The scene was quiet for a while, and the rest of the Five Elders looked at him with frowns. Christie himself has no grudge against our world government, and was caused by idiot Tianlong person back then. He was also killed afterwards, and naval headquarters was beaten twice. Aside from these, we don't have any grudges with each other? Didn't the former Christie too pay tribute to the idiot Tianlong people and want to join the world government? Then let Christie Kingdom become our franchise giant. By the time, 66.99 the goatee Five Elders analyzed it, and the rest of the Five Elders thought about it. Seems like, also, chapter 155 about to hit the island of the Holy Land? The first update, please subscribe automatically. Previous chapter next chapter advertisement the Five Elders thought, pondering the feasibility of this. Let Christie Kingdom become one of the world government's allied countries, this method seems to be good. In this way, the contradiction between the two sides will disappear, and the world government can also gain an incomparably powerful allied country and consolidate their rule over the world. And Christie Davey seems to have Jonbran's special ability to strengthen and transform. Thinking that Doflamingo from a few days ago had the strength to almost defeat the four emperors Kaido of the beasts, this sudden increase in terror was a little scary to them. If they also have access to such technology, then the research pacifists are nothing. After all, the level of strength developed by those pacifists is only the strength between Rear Admiral and Vice Admiral. The elite Vice Admirals at naval headquarters can kill 2 or 3 pacifists. A pacifist is a terrifying weapon for killing, but has no independent consciousness and only acts in accordance with procedures. This is the only way to eliminate weaknesses. In Davey's hands, it is suspected that the Master has forcibly transformed human beings, evolved and strengthened the mysterious technology. It is the perfect biological core manufacturing technology. The Five Elders are a little hot. After all, I learned from the information that Doflamingo said. Such a terrifying increase in strength he has is just a gift from Davey. 097. Have you forgotten that it is the second generation who wants to join the allied countries, not the third generation? Think about it carefully, Davey's Espada Corps, and his previous War of Terror kingdoms. The Demon King Bao Kun, who has conquered more than 20 kingdoms, will agree to join the world government. Even if he joins, will his journey stop there? Sengoku has already said that any enemy who hinders the development of Christie Kingdom will be crushed. Advertisement he already has the determination to fight against the whole world. 35. Don't daydream, idiots talk about dreams. 66. Suddenly, Tianue Five Elders poured a basin of cold water over everyone's heads, and it was like thunder and lightning beating drums, instantly awakening everyone. Yes. How could the Christie Kingdom, which has many terrifying powerhouses, agree to join the alliance? Even if you join, it will not curb your ambition. Davey's domineering has been shown by the red fruit, he is going to conquer the world. Otherwise, how could they give each other the title of Demon King Bao Kun? It didn't pay so much attention at the beginning, which has led to the big scourge of today, BIFD. Thinking about it, the Five Elders felt a heavy helplessness in their hearts. Not only to deal with the Revolutionary Army, but also naval headquarters to suppress pirates. The world government is now facing a more terrifying existence than the Revolutionary Army. Let them pass. Invite Davey to Marijoa and treat him well. It is said to the outside world that the whole country of Christie's kingdom has been relocated and passed through the Holy Land. The world government congratulates and invites King Davey to the Holy Land for a banquet and hospitality. 5. In the end, the Five Elders, who had a lot of headaches, had nothing to do. Pulling the naval headquarters Christie Kingdom to a dead end, it takes cerebral palsy to do such a thing. The super powerful forces of the entire Christie kingdom gathered in the kingdom, and they really angered each other at that time. The Holy Land must not be demolished. At that time, even if Lord Yimu came forward, it would not end well. It can only be done the way the Black Hat Crutch's 5 elders did. This is also the way I can think of without disturbing Lord I Am. That's right. Advertisement just when they made up their minds, an ethereal voice sounded in their minds. The 5 elders were all refreshed and instantly knew who the owner of this voice was. The 5 elders hurriedly knelt down on the ground in fear. Respectfully, Kaido, yes, Lord Yimu. The ancient city of Marijoa, under the castle. The ruffian boss sitting on the throne of a dark palace, dressed in a black robe, with a broom or a slender crown on his head. Holding 2 bounty orders in his hand, he opened his lips lightly and muttered in a low voice. Christie Davy Flying Island, Konoma, in the king's palace. All the summoned characters gathered here. Lord King, in a few hours, the island will be approaching the red line, 55. Please give an order, Ulquiorra told Davy respectfully. After several days of flying, Konoma Island was fast, and soon approached the red line waters. Soon you will be able to get in touch with it, however, at the current height, it may rub against the red line. The red line is about 7,000 meters above the White Sea, and the Holy Land Marijoa is full of white clouds. P.S. The specific author does not know whether it is 10,000 meters or how many, but the height seems to be about 7,000 meters in the White Sea, like this. If you go higher, you may be hit by the passing Sky Island. So, Ulquiorra reported to Davy, is it coming so soon, ha? Davy snorted in surprise when he heard this. He has been busy teaching the Tornado Sisters and Baby 5 to practice for the past 2 days. Advertisement didn't pay much attention to these. Don't worry, the 5 elders won't stop us and don't have the guts, Davy chuckled. Stop? Hit the red line? The 5 elders don't have the guts? It's even more nonsense to hit the red line. As long as he wants to, he can summon a complete Susanoo at any time and slash the red line with one sword. There are too many attack methods that he can use, and it's just a red line that blocks the world. Don't worry, that's it. Davy waved his hand, signaling Ulquiorra not to worry and letting him back off. Maybe the 5 elders on Marijoa should be in a hurry if they don't have to do something. Take the initiative to negotiate with them. It was the same, a few hours later. When the huge towering islands slowly fly close from the high clouds. The alarm of the entire red line instantly resounded throughout the entire sea area. Whether it was the town below the red soil or the Marijoa Tianlong people at the top, they were all terrified. One of such a huge building flew over like this, and seeing that it was about to hit the red line directly, the Tianlong people were almost scared to pee. All kinds of contact phone bugs hit the ancient city of Pan. Ask what happened. Sure enough, are you here? In the ancient city of Pan, the bearded 5 elders looked extremely bad, standing by the high window of the castle, looking at the huge island that was slowly approaching. Chapter 156. Let the 5 elders personally invite the king. Second update, please subscribe automatically. Previous chapter. Next chapter advertisement. How? The bearded 5 elders looked back at the other 5 elders. HMPH, send CP0 to go there, said the 5 elders Tianyue with a knife. Seconded. Second. 99. It is good. Seeing that they were all one, the square-faced blonde 5 elders nodded and agreed. Take out the contact phone bug and give orders to CP0. Rob Lucci, who received the order of the 5 elders, was surprised, but he also accepted the order and immediately used Moonwalk to go to the flying island. Soon after landing on the island, Lucci honestly accepted the inspection of the Kingdom Knights and recorded the information. It's not that he doesn't want to do it, it's that he doesn't dare. The powerful aura of the patrolling around made him not dare to make trouble at all. After doing everything, under the leadership of the Knights of the Kingdom, Lucci came to the door of the king's hall in the palace. The knight captain who led him respectfully entered the hall and reported to Davy. See your majesty the king. The knight captain respectfully paid homage and continued with fanatical reverence in his eyes. There are CP0 personnel sent by the world government outside the main hall, and I want to see his majesty the king. Please, his majesty the king, decide. Bring it in, Davy said secretly. Sure enough. A playful look appeared on his handsome and seductive face. CPO, Rob Lucci has joined so soon, it seems that the potential of this guy is not bad. The strength displayed at the time of the Eni's lobby incident was already at the level of Vice Admiral, and when it reappeared 2 years later, it had a level of strength comparable to that of the Vice Admiral. The foundation is really good, but the few years of staying in the water capital are completely wasted. Advertisement otherwise, the Straw Hat crew are not their opponents at all. Of course, except for the protagonist. The Golden Lion, who was once as famous as Roger, can be beaten by the Straw Hats, and it's a mere Rob Lucci? The knight captain complied with his promise and turned to leave. Soon, Rob Lucci, wearing a white suit and a white cape, walked into the hall. See your majesty the king. When he came to the center of the red carpet in the main hall, Lucci knelt down on one knee, put his hand on his heart, and bowed his head in a respectful salute. The person in front of him is not someone he can ignore the etiquette. What's more, there are so many powerhouses present, and there are dozens of powerhouses he doesn't know that he vaguely perceives. Rob Lucci was secretly shocked with his own opinion. If so many terrifying powerhouses attacked the Holy Land together, he felt that if the Holy Land wanted to defend, it would undoubtedly be somewhat difficult. However, these have nothing to do with him. Today, he just came to pass a word. CP0, why are you here? Davey asked indifferently. Follow the orders of the 5 elders, and invite His Majesty the King to go to the ancient city of the Holy Land for a banquet. The 5 elders have already set up a banquet, just waiting for His Majesty's face to go to the banquet. Lu Chi's voice was calm and calm. Really? Retire and let the 5 elders personally invite this king. Your words are not enough to invite this king, domineering, arrogant. Lu Chi's eyelids sank, and this king was as domineering as rumored. I thought it was a simple thing, but I didn't expect it to be so difficult. I will convey your words to the 5 elders. 95. Lu Chi didn't say much. Davey was so domineering, no matter how much he said, it was useless. Lu Chi stood up simply, bowed his waist and saluted, then turned around and left the hall. Advertisement immediately afterwards, what Davey had just said was fully conveyed to the 5 elders. Arrogant. 55. The 5 elders who heard the news were furious. The bearded 5 elders smashed the table angrily, with a look of anger on their faces. HMPH, we should have done our best to destroy them as early as when they first rose, and it wouldn't have reached this embarrassing level now. Tianue 5 elders snorted coldly. Well, after all, the Christie Kingdom is now on the same level as me, so it's not surprising to have such a domineering and arrogant attitude. 4-faced 5 elders said helplessly. Then he said, if that's the case, then let me go. If this problem is not resolved soon, the island will collide. 99. Having said that, he nodded to the other 5 elders, turned and walked out of the highest meeting room. The square-faced 5 elders were extremely fast. After flying out of the Holy Land, they walked and leapt in the sky, and soon came to Konoma Island. He flew directly to the palace, and soon came to the sky above the palace, but he didn't wait for him to watch carefully for a moment. An extremely dangerous sense of oppression of death strikes. Katakana middle. Flowers. When I saw a figure burst out, the square-faced 5 elders were stunned, and they crossed their hands to block. Bang! With just one click, the square-faced 5 elders only felt his internal organs vibrate, and his whole body was boiling with enthusiasm. The whole person was directly shot hundreds of meters away, his face was bitter, and his face was a little ugly. He quickly stabilized his body and stopped his flying body in the air. Afterwards, he slowly raised his head and saw a white, cold and proud figure appearing at the position where he had just been knocked out. Ulquiorra appeared in a nonchalant form, retracting the whip leg that kicked the 5 elders into the air. This is the first warning. If there is a next time, you will be executed directly. A blow to the square-faced 5 elders, Ulquiorra said indifferently. Advertisement. He even escaped the registration check at the entrance of the kingdom and flew directly to the sky above the palace. 0. If it wasn't for the other party's personal visit, he was here to invite the king to a banquet. Ulquiorra really wanted to blast the opponent out of the island for a fight and kill him directly. Cough. The old man was abrupt. Sorry. The square-faced 5 elders restrained their dissatisfaction, but they were still amazed at Ulquiorra's mighty power. Just at that moment, he felt a sense of life and death crisis. How terrifying is the true strength of this Ulquiorra? He didn't dare to imagine, so he could only honestly admit his mistake and apologize. Come with me. Glancing at each other coldly, Ulquiorra fell towards the bottom. In the inner city of the palace, flying is prohibited. Even in the outer city, the rules are similar. Fortunately, the place where the two of them landed was not far from the king's hall, and they walked there a few minutes later. Step into the temple. In the crowd, Kuzan suddenly widened his eyes when he saw the square-faced 5 elders coming. I felt a burst of astonishment and disbelief. 5 elders actually put down their body and came in person. Since you have met me, why don't you bow? After seeing the square-faced 5 elders entering the hall, they looked at him directly without salute. A cold light flashed in Davey's eyes, the emperor's imposing power erupted, and with a low shout, the terrifying emperor's coercion rolled over, and the square-faced 5 elders' complexion immediately changed. Chapter 157. The 5 elders who exploded. The third update. Please subscribe automatically. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The square-faced 5 elders turned green. It was like the whole sea was crushed, and the heavy pressure that devoured him almost made him fall to the ground. But fortunately, he also released all his strength, resisted frantically, and barely held on. Damn Davey. Even when they met, they gave him a slap in the face. He's here to invite Davey to the banquet. How dare this guy be so domineering? More importantly, this guy just released his imposing pressure and shocked him. How terrifying is this Davey's strength? Could it be that he is still a terrifying powerhouse on the same level as I am Sama? Fang-faced 5 elders was shocked and horrified, and at the same time felt a burst of regret. His grandmother's, if she knew, she wouldn't take the initiative to invite Ying. Let the grumpy old man with the beard come over, maybe he will see the old guy get beaten up and come back with a blue nose and a swollen face. Cough. I've seen King Christie, please take your momentum. The old man is not provoking right and wrong, don't hurt the harmony between the two sides. Feeling the increasing terrifying pressure on his body, the square-faced 5 elders no longer thought about it. Resisting the extremely ugly expression, he reluctantly bowed and saluted, shouting shame in his heart, but on the surface he had to be complimented. Damn, I must ask Lord I am to get my face back in the future. At the time of salute, he was also thinking secretly resentful in his heart. Seeing that the old man was so funny, Davey didn't embarrass him too much. Advertisement. It's not just kneeling down and bowing. All he wants is the opponent's submission and giving the opponent a strong crush. As Davey withdrew his imposing pressure, the square-faced five elders suddenly felt relieved, and could not help but breathe a sigh of relief. Do you agree, King Christie? The square-faced five elders tidied up their appearance and returned to their calm posture. Since the world government is hospitable, it's okay to go there. Davey chuckled and stood up from the throne. He stepped down from the throne, stopped when he passed by, glanced at him and said, "Let's go. Shiroshi, come with you too." Before leaving, Davey did not forget to throw a gentle smile at Shiroshi, the mermaid princess in the main hall. The scenery of the Holy Land Marijoa in the original book is also quite good. Davey will not forget to take this little crying bag to see the scenery on the ground. Yes, Mr. Davey. Hearing Davey's words, Shiroshi nodded with joy and followed Davey. Ah, yes. Fang-faced five elders was startled. Is it so easy to persuade? Soon he didn't respond a bit. Looking at Davey's figure gradually walking out of the hall, he quickly responded and followed. Following behind Davey, he actually felt like a dog's leg when he faced Lord Yim. This made him annoyed for a while. How could he be so inferior and dominated by a hairy brat? By the way, King Davey, could you please suspend the flying island temporarily, otherwise, if it hits the Holy Land, we will have a headache. On the way, Fang-faced five elders suddenly pleaded. Okay. Davey snapped his fingers. The island that was approaching the Holy Land really stopped. The square-faced five elders were relieved. Then, advertisement. Davey took Ulquiorra and Shiroshi, together with the square-faced five elders, and soon came to the Holy Land Marijoa. Falling in the garden, the square-faced five elders wanted to fly directly into the ancient city of Pan with a few people. However, Davey refused and let Shiroshi, the little crying bag, watch the garden all the way to Panchung. As for the walkway that will automatically move forward, Davey had no interest in going up, saving the slaves underground a painful labor. After a long time, several people officially entered the ancient city of Pan. Come to the banquet hall. The other 4 or 5 elders had been waiting for a long time, and when they saw a few people coming, they hurriedly stepped forward to say hello. Welcome, King Christie, to the Holy Land. 9. I've heard the name for a long time. Please take a seat. The banquet will start immediately. Look at the 5 elders who compliment well and have great etiquette. Hundreds of guards, maids and chefs were stunned. They had never seen the 5 elders have such a side. Who are the people in front of me, who deserve such hospitality from the 5 elders? In the banquet hall, Rob Lucci, who had already returned with a paralyzed face, was also amazed. The corners of his mouth twitched slightly, as expected of the rumored Demon King Storm Kun. Even the 5 elders have to put their feet down and entertain each other warmly. In this world, I'm afraid this Demon King Tyrannical Kun is the only existence, right? But he didn't know that there was an IM in control of the 5 elders. In the face of the warm hospitality of the 5 elders, Davey was extremely flat. After a few words of greeting and conversation, the 5 elders also found that Davey had little interest in communicating with them, so they had to end the chat angrily and put away the hypocritical etiquette. Advertisement. During the banquet meal, the 5 elders finally couldn't take it anymore. Black Hat Cane 5 elders coughed lightly and said, King Davey, I wonder if your country has any intention of joining the World Alliance. If it is your country, we can call the shots. Your country only needs to pay half of the heavenly gold every year. They didn't want to talk about it at first, but seeing that Davey is so young and gentle, they couldn't help but re-raise this matter directly. Become a member country of world government. Hearing this, Davey suddenly stopped eating and looked at the 5 elders who spoke. Yes, your country's strength has been recognized by our world government, and Christie Kingdom is fully qualified to become one of the powerful allied countries of the world government. I believe that King Christie, who cooperates with our world government, will definitely develop better. The other 5 elders also opened their mouths to persuade. Become a member of the world government, and pay 5.3 per year to the king to pay tribute to the heavenly gold? Davey almost died of laughter when he heard what these old men said. Haven't they figured out where the two sides stand? Do you think that the Kingdom of Christie needs assistance from the world government and relies on the protection of the world government's flag? You still need to pay tribute to the heavenly gold? Where did you come from to dare to say such a face? Davey's indifferent tone of reprimand smashed out, and the 5 elders all looked ugly, looked at him with bad eyes, and their faces were green with anger. However, Davey's next sentence ignited the audience. It's not impossible for this king to become a member country, but in the future, this king will have all the gold in the sky of every member country. Chapter 158. Famous scene. 5 elders vomit blood. 4th more. Ask for automatic subscription. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Chapter 158. The Kilometer Giant, Susano. 99. The entire banquet hall suddenly fell into a dead silence. Davey's arrogant words resounded throughout the huge banquet hall. The 5 elders were so angry that they gritted their teeth, and their faces were gloomy and cold. Every year, all the affiliated countries' heavenly gold is handed over to the Christie Kingdom? Then their world government invests so much energy every year to maintain the allied countries. Where will the money go? Isn't it all the heavenly gold that these allied countries paid tribute to? All the gold in the sky will be handed over to Christie Kingdom from now on. Isn't it a joke? They figured it out. The Davey guy didn't mean to be a franchise at all. Instead, it's like playing tricks on them. King Davey, are you joking? The bearded five elders had a gloomy face, and asked in a low voice with a suppressed tone. Didn't you all joke first? Ask the whole world, who doesn't know the great strength of Christie Kingdom, and still needs to become an allied country and pay tribute to heaven? 33. Kingdom of Christie, who else needs to show force? 18. Davy looked at the old men coldly, and continued with a playful tone. Still that sentence, are you worthy? Bang. The hot-tempered bearded five elders suddenly exploded with anger, slammed the table and said angrily, are you challenging the world government? Don't be impulsive. The square-faced five elders who just returned from Christie's kingdom knew the terrifying power of Davy's side, and he quickly grabbed the bearded five elders. It's not appropriate to have a real fight with the other party now, don't act impulsive. After holding the other party, five elders with square face stuck to the other party's ear to discourage. Humph. Seeing the suggestive look his colleagues gave him, the beard suppressed his anger and sat back on the chair. Advertisement, forget it, since King Davy doesn't want to join the world government, it's not a big problem. Black Hat Cane five elders tapped on the cane, and after thinking for a moment, he said, that's good, Christie Kingdom and the world government have formed an ally independent from the allied countries. World government can trade all kinds of material resources, technical professionals, etc. with Christie. If Christie is in any trouble, the world government will be there to help, and vice versa. King Davy, what do you think? Old stuff. Was this still part of our original discussion? The pupils of several five elders shrank, and all looked at the Black Hat Cane five elders. Okay, I also think this proposal is very good. Davy smiled lightly and said with a gentle smile. That's great, ha ha ha, not bad, King Davy, I'll give you a toast. 66.99 The five elders were overjoyed to hear that Davy had agreed. The indifferent attitude from before disappeared in an instant without a trace. Become extremely enthusiastic, raise a glass to Davy to celebrate. However, Davy's next remarks once again beat the nerves of the five elders. Totally pissed off the five elders. If you want to become this king's ally, there are conditions. First, donate 10 devil fruits every year, 5 billion Baileys, 200 professional elites in various industries, and various materials worth 10 billion. Since the world government is so rich and powerful, it wants to be the only ally of Christie Kingdom. Then double it tenfold on this basis. After saying this, Davy indifferently wiped away the food residue from the corners of his mouth, and his meal movements showed aristocratic etiquette. Are these five old men sure that their brains are not sick? Want to be with him with empty gloves and white wolf? Advertisement to tell the truth, none of the things of the world government can make him look up to it. Davy has some guesses in his heart, these poor old men, I'm afraid they didn't come to him to use the technology of Doflamingo Hollow Rankar? However, this thing cannot be implemented without Hogyoku. And Davy has never put the five elders in his eyes, let alone any interest in becoming a franchise. This time, I just came here to experience the top culinary cuisine and take Shiroshi to see the prosperity of Marijoa. However, these words he said made the faces of the five elders turn into pig livers with anger. Davy, enough. You didn't plan to join the world government's allies at all, did you? You've been playing tricks on us, and you haven't stopped. 66. The five elders yelled out angrily. They can understand that this busy didn't plan to join them from the very beginning. Instead, they have been playing casually with them, so they are joking. I'm sorry, this king just remembered something happy. Davy responded with a small smile. Immediately, the anger of the five elders was ignited. Is it really that much fun to play with them? What pleasant things do you remember? Suddenly, the bearded five elders asked in a muffled voice. My wife. This king's kingdom is about to fly over the red line. 5. Ahem, I almost entered a famous scene. Davy stopped his erroneous statement in time, and was almost blunt when asked by the five elders. Davy, you bastard, are you deliberately trying to oppose the world government? You provoke us again and again, what are you trying to do? Bastard, the old man can't bear it anymore, advertisement. 66.99 The five elders, who were irritated by Davy's tricks again and again, couldn't bear it any longer, and they were furious one by one. His eyes were full of anger and murderous intent, but he just said it verbally, but no one really moved his hand. Presumptuous. 39 Behind Davy, Ulquiorra, who had been waiting, stepped forward and scolded 100. The terrifying majestic Ryotsu gushed out like a sea, and the gushing erupted. Instantly swept the audience, terrifying coercion descended, and everyone's face changed greatly. The five elders only felt a stagnation and stiffness in their bodies, as if a layer of gel had been poured over their souls. Extremely uncomfortable. Shiroshi watched the once tense scene, and quickly hid beside Davy, his delicate and lovely face showing worry and fear. Forget it, Ulquiorra. With the hospitality of the five elders, we can't spoil each other's game. 99. Have enough to eat and drink, let's go. Standing up and patting Ulquiorra on the shoulder, Davy smiled at the five elders. He ignored the terrifying eyes that were about to tear him apart. With the two slowly walked out of the banquet hall. Damn. After they left, the heavy and terrifying pressure that crushed the soul disappeared. All the five elders scolded angrily with their faces ashen and ugly. This wave of operations made them almost mad at themselves. Go and ask Lord Yimu. In the end, with an almost broken-hearted mood, the five elders decided to visit their eldest, I am. This Davy is really not a person. Chapter 159 The Sword of the Gods and Demons that cut off the red line. The first update, please subscribe automatically. Previous chapter. Next chapter advertisement. Davey's play was completely unexpected by the five elders. There are still people who dare to do this to them, but there is nothing they can do. The five elders can only go to their boss, Lord Yim. Master Davey, is it really okay for you to anger the five elders like this? Your kingdom will be punished by the opponent. Shiroshi still doesn't know the true strength of Christie's kingdom, so he can't help but worry about what Davey is doing in the Holy Land Marijoa. After all, those were the five elders who ruled the world, a superhero she couldn't even imagine. Princess, don't worry, it's just a world government, and the Christie kingdom can ban it at any time. 5. Looking at Shiroshi, the innocent mermaid princess, Ulquiorra said in a flat tone. He was also curious why Lord Davey didn't directly kill the five elders and take control of the world government. But Lord Davey naturally has his own thoughts, and Ulquiorra won't ask too much. When the time comes, Lord Davey will naturally issue a task for them to complete. And these courtiers only need to be prepared to complete the task. That's right, Shiroshi, I'll show you my power next. Davey smiled at the ignorant and cute Shiroshi, and then his eyes became sharp. Several people just stood above the altitude of thousands of meters. Behind a few people is the giant island of Konoma that hovers in the sky like a city in the sky. Looking at the red line below, Davey grins. Advertisement. A terrifying momentum suddenly erupted, and the majestic Ryotsu erupted, and the golden Ryotsu reflected the entire sky into a heavenly splendor. Gyugo Jade Reincarnation Sharingan reappears. Meanwhile, below the Holy Land Marijoa in the ancient city. The five elders, who were about to find Im, suddenly felt a terrifying coercion, and their expressions changed drastically. This breath made them feel an extremely bad premonition. Several people rushed out of the ancient city of Pan, looking at Davey above the sky. The bad premonition in their hearts became more and more real. Then, they saw that a huge golden giant gradually formed. Complete body Susanoo, Davey said indifferently. The next moment, a skeleton condensed by golden Ryotsu quickly formed, and it appeared in seconds. It was a complete giant skeleton in human form. Its skeletons are huge for thousands of meters. After the skeletons are formed, the meridians and blood are formed, and then the clothes and armor. Holding a giant sword, with a pair of golden wings on its back. After a few breaths, a golden devil appeared in front of everyone, floating above the sky. It exudes an extremely terrifying coercion, like the arrival of the Abyss Devil, and like the sanctioning god of heaven. What kind of monster is this? Is this really the power a human being can possess? Damn, what is this guy trying to do? 3566.99. The five elders were stunned, but also furious. Davey, this guy, displayed such terrifying means in front of the red line, and definitely didn't want to show them. But what a big move. Advertisement, could it be? Tianue five elders looked horrified, and suddenly seemed to have thought of something. He hurriedly shouted anxiously. He must be stopped, this lunatic wants to destroy the red line. What? Crazy him. 35, damn it Davey, stop him. 6,699. As soon as these words came out, all the other five elders exploded with rage. This lunatic wants to destroy the red line. If Davey really succeeds, then after today, the highest position of world government will suffer the most severe blow in history, hundreds of years. Davey, stop it, what the hell are you trying to do? If the red line blocks you, can you just fly the island higher? 35. If you do this, you will only offend the world government in an ordinary way, and it means nothing to you at all. 35. The five elders were in a hurry, and all of them cast their moon cloths, flew into the sky, and came to the huge golden devil over 1,000 meters. Blocked in front of the golden devil, each expression looked at Davey in the devil's head with a heavy and gloomy expression. This king did it if he wanted to, what's the point of it? Since you want to stop it, then try to see if you can do it. 35. Davey sneered, no need to talk too much with these old men. Controlling the Susanoo demon god, he raised the golden giant sword in his hand, bursting out with unparalleled terrifying power, and slashed forward with a sharp sword. Hundreds of meters long golden giant sword envelops the monstrous power, pierces the space, and the terrifying wind pressure envelops it, and the terrifying sword stirs the wind and clouds. Before this terrifying sword fell, the five elders felt their scalps tingle for a while. Stop him. Advertisement. The five of them wanted to stop it and tried to resist, but when they felt the extremely terrifying sword, the expressions of the five elders sank, and they hurriedly dodged. The terrifying aura of this sword made them all feel the danger of death. The subconscious sense of crisis reminded them frantically. This sword is unstoppable, or you will die. The next moment, the sword that destroys the sky and destroys the earth slashes down. See. The space ruptured, a dazzling sword light broke out, and the red line was smashed, and a sword fell from the sky and slashed down. Rumble rumble. The red line was directly cut off by this terrifying sword pressure. The red line with a height of more than 7,000 meters was directly cut to the bottom of the sea, and a straight gap with a width of tens of thousands of meters appeared. Davey's Susanoo slashed the red line with a single sword, creating a new navigation channel. And Davey is aiming for the slashing, good, position, far from the Holy Land Marijoa. Otherwise, if I am not using the so-called national treasure to stop this sword, millions of lives on Marijoa will be destroyed by this sword. And the Fishmen Island under the red line will also be devastated. Davey won't let the Fishmen Island have an accident, Otherwise Shiroshi, the little crying bag, will cry miserably. The power is good. From now on, this sword will be called, the Sword of the Cliff. Davey nodded in satisfaction as he watched the horror blow he had manipulated Susanoo to create. The power of Lord Davey is truly awe-inspiring. A strange look flashed in Ulquiorra's eyes. Immediately looking at the Holy Land below, the 5 elders were already mad. Chapter 160 Imam appears. My name is Aizen, second update, please subscribe automatically. Previous chapter next chapter advertisement. Although the 5 elders evaded the sword in time, they were still affected because they were relatively close. All the clothes have become tattered and there are some scratches, but these are secondary. The most important thing is that the world government has lost its face. Damn Davey, this kind of thing really happened. When the red line was cut off, the huge gap with a length and width of tens of thousands of meters at a glance made them feel horrified. What terrifying power does it take to do this? With this terrifying destructive power like the power of a god, I am afraid that even Lord I Am can't match it. Fight. This sun is too scary to stay. Shadow Moon slash. Tempest kick dragon slash. 35 fed up. The 5 elders shot directly, and several attacks savagely attacked Davey. The huge black slash was like the black claws that ripped apart the day, and a shockwave swept through, and the 5 people shot together. Shen Luo Tianzheng. Facing the attack of the 5 elders, Davey's eyes flashed with contempt, and he just snorted. Hum. Bang bang. A buzzing sound rang out, followed by a circle of invisible barriers that spread out from the golden devil's body, doubling all the attacks of the 5 elders and returning them. Puff, 103 flash away. Advertisement. What the hell is this? Shinra Tensai's rebound knocked all the 5 elders into the air. Several people did not understand, but they launched the attack again, but it was still the same ending. Several people calmed down and no longer launched attacks blindly. This guy doubled all our attacks with the power of rebound. This lunatic. He is not afraid of the world government at all. 35. What now? Do you want to fight him directly? Are you crazy? Do you think we can beat them all? Then what to do now? Such a big commotion will soon be known to the whole world, and Lord Yim will definitely be angry. 35. 66. Point 3 to the power of 9. The 5 elders have different opinions, but they just don't dare to rush up to fight Davey again. Davey's demon-like power just now completely shocked them. This kind of power beyond their cognition, I am afraid only a national treasure can compete with it. Right now, no matter how they attacked, they would be bounced back. Let them have nowhere to go. Let's go. Looking at the 5 elders who were no longer attacking him, but were instead anxious and angry, Davey chuckled, somewhat disdainfully. I didn't expect that the 5 elders were quite cowardly, and in just 2 fights, they didn't dare to fight him. It is still useful to keep the world government now, so it is not necessary to start an all-out war directly. After he eliminated the 4 emperors, after rectifying the pirates above the sea, it was his turn to take care of the world government, and it was still too early. Restraining the Susanoo demon god, the Sharingan in his eyes dissipated, returning to deep and charming black pupils. Advertisement. Ulquiorra nodded and followed behind Davey and Shiroshi. Soon, the huge sky island of Konoma flew over the red line and headed to the new world. And after this incident, it is conceivable that the collapse of the world government's red line this time is definitely the most shocking event in history. The red line was slashed with a sword, and a route of tens of thousands of meters was cut out to the new world. How big a storm can this thing cause? The consequences of this incident are particularly unknown, but the 5 elders tremblingly came to the great hall in the ancient city of the world government. On the void throne. A figure sat on the throne, high above, looking down at the 5 elders who were kneeling on the ground below. I am incompetent. Please punish Mr. Yimu. The 5 elders knelt down in fear, not daring to look up, and looked at the figure on the void throne. I already know about this, and I don't need to worry about Christie's affairs for now. His strength is not what you can handle. Do your best to carry out the task I explained, and the other things are not important. BIFD. Seeing that Lord Yimu did not pursue their faults, the 5 elders looked at each other in dismay, feeling a burst of surprise. He hurriedly kowtowed and thanked, and he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. However, considering the horror of Christie Kingdom, they couldn't help but say, but Lord Yimu, the existence of Christie Kingdom has seriously affected some aspects of our problems. If we leave it alone, we will do things very troublesome. 35. Yes, Lord Yimu, what happened today will soon spread to the whole world, and the reputation and prestige of the world government will be severely damaged in the next period of time. Sir, I am. For a time, the 5 elders began to ask questions. Christie Kingdom and Davey have been pressing their head to do things, and they hate it. But there is nothing to be done about it, and this is the most annoying place. Advertisement. They are the most noble and powerful supermen on the surface of the world. But now he's facing Davey's lunatic, he's just a fart. What can they do? They are also very distressed, so they can only pray to I Am to deal with the problem. Then take out the things that the other party is interested in, money, women, materials, etc. to stabilize the other party. I can hear that the other party has no idea of a war with the world government for the time being. 35. Im's voice does not contain the slightest emotional fluctuations. The huge world government, even if it throws out more than half of it, I Am also feels that it doesn't matter. Everything just waits for that person to return, and after the matter is dealt with, everything in the world can be given up. I Am didn't care at all. It's just something that can be taken back at any time, As long as a war with Christie can be avoided, it's all worth it. That Davey, this man has a mystery about him that even a mom finds terrifying. This is the fundamental reason why IMM has endured Davey's reckless behavior. Yes, Lord IM. Hearing this, the 5 elders nodded and understood what Lord Yimu meant. It seems that matter, is indeed approaching the most critical moment, otherwise Lord Yimu will never tolerate it like this. Just as the 5 elders were about to take their orders to leave, a gentle and mature magnetic man's voice suddenly sounded in this empty palace. Is the discussion over? How about a little chat with me? 5. The voice fell, and 3 white figures came out from the darkness. Who are you? The 5 elders were shocked. Where did the 3 people in front of them appear, and they didn't even realize it? My name, Aizen Sosuke. Chapter 161 Create a Continent. A friendly invitation from the Hokage world. The third update. Ask for an automatic subscription. Previous chapter. Next chapter advertisement. Davey maneuvered the giant island of Konoma to fly over the red line. As soon as he left, Aizen took Tusen Konami and Yin to find IM. Davey naturally didn't know about this. After all, he didn't monitor Aizen's location every now and then. Davey has returned to Christie's kingdom in a happy mood. A few days later, Konoma Island flew directly to the waters where the Whitebeard pirates once belonged. Along the way, I do not know how many forces have attracted the attention. Christie's flying island. The news that Redline was smashed by a sword through Redline has already spread all over the world. That can be called destroying the world, breaking through the magnificent Redline more than 7,000 meters high with one sword, creating a new route channel tens of thousands of meters wide. It shocked everyone in the world. It was very unbelievable. This is really a sword that humans can cut out. And it is the king of Christie Kingdom, Davey, who did all this. For a time, Davey once again refreshed the world's perception of his terrifying strength. In the sea, there are already many races and people who have respected Davey as a god. He also built a statue for it, for which there was a lot of noise. 107. For this matter, Davey was dumbfounded when he learned of the situation. He hasn't become a god yet, so he has a god statue? It's a bit outrageous indeed, but the area below is the territory of the Whitebeard pirates. Above the sky, Davey sat on the void throne, looking at the islands below. On the left and right sides behind the throne, there are many summoned characters, most of which are the Espada Legion. In the surrounding waters, there are still hundreds of fleets of ships. Before Davey's control of the island came, the subordinates who occupied the territory had been notified to evacuate. If there are still civilians and his kingdom troops on these islands, he will not be very easy to operate. Because what he is going to do next is enough to subvert the cognition of the whole world. Planetary devastation. With the reappearance of the Sharingan, a terrifying gravitational force suddenly appeared. Advertisement. Davey spread his palms, and a small black ball fell into the sea below. Immediately afterwards, in the sea below, large tracts of islands were pulled over by the collapse, constantly filling the largest island. There are also rock formations under the seabed, and the crustal changes are pulled over by the collapse. Under the attention of countless people, a continent slowly condensed and formed, located in the middle. The original Sage of Six Paths teamed up to defeat his mother, Kaguya, and sealed her with planetary devastation. Became the moon in the universe. And now, Davey is also using the ability of planetary devastation, but instead of crushing the Earth with gravity to create a big ball. Instead, create a continent. The uninhabited islands in the surrounding thousands of nautical miles were all pulled by the collapse, constantly filling the sea below, and merging with the Earth's crust. In Davey's Kamui space and Hueco Mundo, there is also a stockpile of rock and soil he collected when he cut down the red line. Filled with endless rock and soil, soon, a continent with no end at a glance was completed. Countless people all over the world who passed the live broadcast of the news of the world, witnessed this miracle like the creation of the world by the gods. All of them were stunned, shocked and lost their minds for a long time without moving. Some people who came back to their senses directly knelt down and worshipped Davey's title, respecting him as a god. The creation of the continent is completed, and the island of Konoma is also slowly descending, merging into the sinkhole that was left when the continent was created below. Perfect fusion. Not to mention the various races and human beings in the world, even Davey's summoned characters and the people of Christie's kingdom are all dumbfounded. Their Majesty the King is indeed a god, otherwise how could he have such a creation-like ability? As expected of the man I fancy, 35 Ace Day added fragrance to his lips, and his love for Davey became stronger, and he couldn't wait to learn physical skills with Davey. Although with her ability, she could freeze a continent and plunge the entire continent into a world of icy cold and dead silence. But compared to creating a continent, it is not a level difference at all. It is harder to create than to destroy. 10 times the size of Alabasta? 35. Forget it, if it were 10 million square kilometers, it would be equivalent to a big country with a cannonball in the previous life, and it would be considered a small continent. Davey, who sensed how big this continent was created, mused. I have no idea about this area, almost enough. The total area of Princess Vivi's Alabasta is only 1.02 million square kilometers. It is already one of the largest island kingdoms in the original One Piece books. Advertisement except for the Red Line, a magnificent existence that circles the world and divides the world into two halves. The mainland on which the Christie Kingdom is now located is the largest island in the world. If it is called the mainland, there is really nothing wrong with it. The fleet of Christie Kingdom and the islanders of the former island towns have been relocated to safe waters. And as for the people of the major forces who are watching the excitement, it can only be said that in the formation of this continent, they also contributed a very small amount of help. And it also provides a lot of nutrition for the growth of the green plants in this land, at the expense of themselves. Really nice guy, nice guy. After doing all this, Davey returned to the palace angrily. Sitting on the throne, haha. I have to say that these things I have done during this period of time have really satisfied Davey's hobbies and interests. Davey was so happy, but the world government that witnessed Davey's creation was blown up. Countless civilians in island towns took boats to the mainland of Christie Kingdom. An island continent where God exists instantly makes countless people in the whole world go crazy. They all want to go to this country and become the people sheltered by gods. Among them, there are several kingdoms that are affiliated to the world government, which is why the world government and the 5 elders are furious. But none of this has anything to do with him. Davey pulls many summon characters every day, such as Arusa, Medusa, Yanyan Nangong, and these people to guide and practice individually. Occasionally, when several people jointly challenge Davey, but with Davey's strength to beat the 7th Order True King. It's not too easy to clean up their testimony. During this period, Natsu and the Skeleton Emperor, who were carrying the stereo, also joined forces to challenge him. It's outrageous. Of course, there are differences between challenges and challenges. As a result of the battle that challenged Davey, the Skeleton King was naturally broken, and Natsu lay directly for a month. Hey, it's still interesting to guide Hannibal and the others to practice. Davey looked at Esdes and Hannibal, who were exhausted, beaten and bruised all over, and slept to death. He shook his head and smiled. With this strength, he dares to challenge him. Isn't this looking for abuse? Huh? World invitation? Advertisement being bored. Davey clicked on his own panel properties. Then I found an invitation letter from another dimension that had never been used. Davey didn't even know when this was summoned. But now Christie Kingdom has entered a stage of rapid development. Even the world government is afraid of the Kingdom of Christie and dare not offend. Even if I am personally shot, unite the world government and naval headquarters the other side of Christie Kingdom. Davey also believed that the group of characters and wives he summoned could directly kill each other with a backhand. That being the case, then use this invitation letter in the past to try it out. How does the system use this otherworldly invitation? 35 Davey asked. Ding, after the invitation letter is used silently, a random world of another dimension will be selected, and when the master returns from that world, the world will be marked with a fixed point to generate the gate of time and space. When the master wants to enter that world next time, he only needs to inject a certain amount of origin points, and then he can come to this world again. The system's voice sounded immediately, explaining it for Davey. Really, it's pretty good. After listening to the system's explanation, Davey nodded in satisfaction. Can I still mark the world with 5.3 points after crossing the return? This function is really good, avoiding the trouble of not being able to go to that world in the future. Use another dimension invitation. Davey, who wanted to go to other worlds, said immediately. Ding. The invitation to the otherworld dimension has been successfully used, and the world is being screened for you. Ding. The world of Hokage has sent you a friendly invitation. Would you like to go to this world? A few seconds later, the sound of the system sounded again, but Davey felt that there was something unusual in it. However, he didn't care too much, looked at Esdes who was drowsy, stretched out his hand and lightly touched the other's white forehead. Then he said expectantly, yes. Ding, the gate of time and space has been created. Please go to the world of Hokage that sent a friendly invitation. 99. Haha, interesting. 35 Looking at the gate of Uzumaki in front of him, Davey stepped into it with great interest. Chapter 162 The Son of Heaven Bows Down. The dragon is coming. The first update, please subscribe automatically. Previous chapter Next chapter advertisement Hokage World. Traveling through the gate of time and space, Davey, who had just stepped out of the door, touched his head, puzzled. Just when he was passing through the gate of time and space, why did he seem to hear an ethereal voice, as if he was crying in grievance? Forget it, what's up with him? Standing on the top of the mountain, Davey looked at the mountain plains below, lost in thought. So where is this place, system? What year is this in the Hokage world? 35 Davey asked. Ding, please explore on your own. The system responded succinctly. What do you want? Huh? A war is breaking out. 35. The top-level sights and sounds unfolded, instantly spreading over a range of hundreds of kilometers. In his perception, a war is breaking out between two armies in the wasteland dozens of kilometers away from here. Look in the past and see what era of Hokage world this is. Since the foothold he traveled through was not due to the 5 great ninja villages, Davey did not know what era of Hokage world he was traveling through now. Still have to ask the natives of the Hokage world to find out. Ring. Hum. As the sound moved, Davey's body flashed and disappeared, and he appeared 10,000 meters away in the next second. With the blessing of psychic power, a sonic boom sounded, and Davey burst out like a high-speed missile. After a while, they came to the wasteland where the two armies waged war. Kill. Kill all the people of the motherland. 39. Kill the smashers of the motherland and snatch their food. 55. Haha, the country of our ancestors dares to fight against our country. 66.9 to the power of 9 on the wasteland battlefield below, the soldiers of the two countries fought each other, fighting to the death. It can be clearly found that the army called the Motherland is pressed and beaten by the soldiers of the other country, and the comprehensive level is not comparable to the soldiers of the other country. Damn it. Even though I have given up so much material and land to the other country, why do they still start a war against my motherland? The emperor of the motherland does not understand. He clearly did not want to start a war and let so many innocent people die. Therefore, a lot of fertile fields and other materials, as well as land, were also given up, but the people of the other country were always pressing each other step by step. The emperor was heartbroken and could only watch his army being killed in batches by the soldiers of the other country. If there is a god, please come to quell the war. The emperor of my ancestral country would like to worship the gods from generation to generation. Advertisement 66.99 At the rear of the army, the emperor of the ancestral country in the tent was suffering from severe back pain, and knelt down toward the sky to pray and kneel. The expressions of the ministers beside him changed slightly, but he didn't expect this emperor to pray to the gods? Hey, they are also helpless. How could such a cowardly emperor be on the table, repeatedly forbearing the mighty country of the other side? The opinions of the soldiers in the army are also quite large, and the combat effectiveness is constantly declining, and there is not much fighting spirit at all, fighting for a cowardly emperor. Haha, that's interesting. 35. It turns out that this is the world of Hokage thousands of years ago, so this guy who kneels and prays for the coming of the gods is the coward. Davey, who unfolded the top observation haki, of course heard what the cowardly emperor said. If that's the case, then I'll come back to God for a while. Davey chuckled, as if thinking of something funny. The next moment, the whole sky was gusty wind, dark clouds covered, thunder and lightning flashed, and the majestic rain poured down. The soldiers of the two countries felt the earth shake for a while, and then they found that an extremely terrifying coercion descended, covering the entire wasteland. What's going on? Is this god angry? Is this the anger of the mountain god? There are too many killings here. 66.3 To the power of 9 The scene of the sudden change in the heavens and the earth made these ancients go bewildered, and they all stopped. Under the irresistible mysterious coercion, it was difficult. Whoa. Next moment. A dragon roar resounded through the heavens and the earth, the dark clouds all over the sky, lightning and thunderbolts all dissipated, and a white holy dragon leaned out from the clouds. I am the divine dragon in charge of the divine power of heaven and earth. Why do you and other mortals stain the heaven and earth with blood, disturbing my sleep? 35. Wait, what the hell? The terrifying dragon roar shocked all the human beings and the soldiers on the wasteland, all looking at the dragon above the sky dumbfounded. It's a dragon. The dragon in ancient legends, the mythical dragon of the far eastern continent. It appeared in front of their eyes like this, it was so magical. Yes, it's a dragon. Kill the dragon for this minister. Ha ha ha, it turns out to be the legendary dragon who can live forever after consuming dragon meat and possess the magic of the gods. 99. The whole army obeyed the order and killed the dragon. Advertisement behind the command of the other country, Minister Suzaku and Minister Xuanwu looked at each other and a crazy look of surprise appeared in their eyes. Both of them went crazy, and they quickly commanded the soldiers to kill the dragon that suddenly appeared. As for the divine dragon who is in charge of the divine power in the world, they don't care at all. This is the legendary dragon, they have an army of tens of thousands, can't they still shoot the dragon? As a result, the army of the other kingdom, who did not know whether to live or die, attacked the dragon in the sky. This, the motherland side. The emperor of the motherland, all the ministers and generals, and tens of thousands of soldiers were horrified. Are the people of the other country crazy and dared to attack the gods? According to legend, the dragon has the power to call the wind and call the rain, and it can attract thunder and lightning, but they actually shot at the gods? Stupid mortals deserve the death penalty. In the sky, Davey was also pissed off. It's really a bunch of stupid mortals who don't know the so-called, dared to attack him without knowing the specific strength of the opponent. But it doesn't matter, Davey's shot this time is also to suppress one side. Thunder and rage. The white dragon roared, the dragon claws waved, and a layer of dark clouds and thunder appeared in an instant, followed by a series of huge thunderbolts, forming a thunderstorm that fell towards the army of the other country. After a while, the tens of thousands of troops in the other country soon suffered heavy casualties, and most of them were killed by the thunder bombardment. Retreat, retreat. Lord Shenlong, spare your life. Please forgive me, Lord Shenlong, and let us go. 35. After the thunder, the high-level officials of the other country and the soldiers of the army knelt down and begged for mercy. Even killing dragons and eating dragon meat, the feces are about to be beaten out. The two ministers were just hit by Yu Wei's thunder and lightning, and they surrendered directly because of the electricity and shit. Seeing that Shenlong ignored them, soon, in a panic, the two ministers led the army to evacuate the wasteland. See Lord Shenlong. 6695 After the country was defeated and evacuated from the wasteland, the emperor of the motherland immediately rushed to bring his ministers, and they all knelt on the ground, bowing to the dragon that Davey transformed into and thanking him. It was just the next scene that shocked the emperor and ministers of the motherland. Under their shocking gaze, the white dragon in the sky slowly descended and turned into a handsome man in white. This divine dragon turned into a human? It's true that the gods have come. Advertisement. 66.99 Seeing that the dragon turned into a human, the emperor and ministers of the ancestral country were shocked and looked at Davey walking towards them in disbelief. See Lord Shenlong. Thank you Lord Shenlong for helping my ancestral country to repel the enemy. Up and down my ancestral country, I will surely build the statue of Lord Shenlong and enshrine it forever. The Son of Heaven was very polite and kowtowed again and thanked him. That's right, Lord Shenlong. Hearing what the Son of Heaven said, all the ministers also agreed, thinking about climbing up to Lord Shenlong, and wanting to gain the slightest benefit. This is a dragon, if the other party can squeeze something out of the nails, maybe it can make them live 100 years longer, adding dozens of years. Yes, as you say. This god has just woken up, and he will stay with your ancestral country for a while. Davey nodded flatly. Motherland? I don't know if Kaguya-ji has come to Earth, but I can get Zhao to go to the motherland to see. Okay, please come with the little ones, Lord Shenlong. Hearing this, the emperor and the ministers were overjoyed and bowed even more respectfully. Soon, the emperor's chariot was replaced with a more luxurious decoration. And Davey sat in the dragon carriage as for the emperor of the ancestral country. Of course, he personally led Davey's horse. Even those ministers are only foot soldiers, but Davey, who else dares to ride on foot tools? 2 hours later, the army returned to the palace of the motherland. It is said that it is a palace, but it is actually just some wooden buildings and some tents. The emperor and the ministers respectfully brought Davey to the largest building, which is the main hall for the ceremony with the ministers. As soon as they arrived at the door, a beautiful white woman in a white kimono greeted her. Tianzi quickly introduced to Davey, Lord Shenlong, this is my fiancé, Kaguya Hamaka. Kaguya, I've seen Shenlong-sama soon, oh, fiancé Kaguya-heim? Davey was surprised, and a strange color flashed in his eyes. Chapter 163 Panic Kaguya, second update. Ask for automatic subscription. Previous chapter next chapter advertisement 6699 The Emperor of the Motherland was very enthusiastic and pious, and wanted to ask Kaguya-ji to meet Davey. It was just embarrassing that Kaguya gave him a slight glance, and then just gave Davey a slight nod. Not as enthusiastic as the son of the ancestral kingdom, after all, on Kaguya-ji's planet. It's not that there are no such gods, they are all humanoids with the power to destroy the world. Where did one of the gods say? However, there was a hint of surprise and joy in Kaguya's eyes. Kaguya-ji was surprised by Davey's appearance and temperament, which was a handsome appearance and a mysterious extraordinary temperament that she had never seen before. The cold-hearted Kaguya-heim couldn't help but be attracted for a moment, then recovered and glanced at it. Don't dare to meet Davey's eyes again. Your fiancé seems to be a little unusual, the Emperor of the Motherland, 35. Davey stared sharply at Kaguya-ji and said with his eyes fixed. Feeling Davey's unusual gaze, Kaguya-ji's body trembled and a strange feeling suddenly rose. Lord Shenlong is really extraordinary. My fiancée descended from the moon and star outside the sky, she is the princess of the moon. Will marry me sooner than later. 35 Hearing Davey's words, the emperor of the ancestral country naturally didn't notice anything, but was amazed. After complimenting Davey, he explained to Davey proudly. Ha ha. Davey smiled slightly, without saying much. Randomly swiping Kaguya-ji, Kaguya-ji's information will be presented in front of his eyes. Open black lens bracket Otsutsuki Kaguya close black lens bracket level, second order race, Otsutsuki. Talents. White eyes, summoning abilities, white eyes, summoning, flying, rabbit needle. Weapon. Non-comprehensive evaluation. The goddess of Mao who descended from an alien star is weak, but has a big chance, and can reach the sky in one step. Is the current Otsutsuki Kaguya only second tier in strength? The strength of the second order can cross the universe, and the lower limit of the potential of the Otsutsuki race is really not bad. But this still can't be corrected, Otsutsuki Kaguya's weakness before swallowing the fruit of the divine tree. The means of attack are not strong enough. Advertisement. It is no wonder that in the original book, a group of mortal troops chased and fled, and finally devoured the fruit of the divine tree before turning over and punishing all mankind. Davey is not interested in the power of the fruit of the divine tree, he already has the Sharingan of the Nine Goose Jade, and most of the abilities of Otsutsuki Kaguya are available to him. And because it was summoned by the system, plus he used the origin point to strengthen it. The power effect of his 9-hook Jade Sharingan is far stronger than Otsutsuki Kaguya's 9-hook Jade Sharingan. Each ability is strong, but also has more ability. In the original work, Otsutsuki Kaguya, who ate the fruit of the divine tree, evolved a celestial eye, the Sharingan of the 9-go Jade reincarnation. And he has a full pair, Infinite Kamui, Infinite Tsukuyomi, Infinite Amaterasu, Infinite Super Shinra Tensai, Universal Pull, Planetary Devastation, Tien Gen Obstruction. After a series of abilities, Davey has all the 9-go Jade reincarnation Sharingan. For this world, Davey can say unceremoniously, he is indeed a god. It's just a fruit of the divine tree, and Davey is really not interested. There is only one person interested in him, and that is Otsutsuki Kaguya himself. But Otsutsuki Kaguya actually became the fiancé of the Emperor of the Motherland? Kaguya-heim has white hair. All those problems are no longer a problem. As we all know, rabbits are controlled by white hair per capita. The buffs are all stacked, why are you hesitating? Respectfully led Davey into the main hall, and Davey took the seat unceremoniously. He glanced at the ministers sitting on both sides of the hall, and the Emperor of the Motherland sat beside him, without the slightest dissatisfaction. Gee. Davey light tisk, just this group of people, but also have the nerve to call it the country of the motherland. All of them are ordinary people, soldiers and soldiers can only do three-legged kung fu, emperors are cowards, and ministers are all like this. The original Christie kingdom was not so unbearable. Lord Shenlong, what do you think about the state of the ancestral country? 55. Beside him, the emperor of the motherland hesitated for a moment and then asked Davey. He actually wanted to ask how far the country of the motherland can go in the future, whether it can become a 1,000-year-old country, how it should develop in the future, and whether it can protect the country of the motherland. It's just that he didn't dare to ask, so he simply asked about the situation of the motherland. Only, if Davey had known what the coward had in mind. It must be said, you were thinking about the fart and want to ask the recipe? However, looking at the expectant expression of the emperor of the motherland, Davey naturally guessed his hidden thoughts. He said calmly, fate is in your hands, if you make the wrong choice, everything will cease to exist. 66.9 to the power of 9 advertisement. When the emperor of the motherland and the ministers heard the words, their hearts tightened. In that case, is the motherland about to face a major turning point of life and death? The emperor of the motherland was anxious, knelt directly in front of Davey and pleaded, I also ask the famous words of Lord Shenlong to help my motherland to tide over the difficulties. I also ask the famous words of Lord Shenlong to help my ancestral country overcome difficulties. Seeing that the emperor is so humble and kneeling and praying, the ministers who are ministers naturally dare not sit. If the motherland is gone, they will definitely have a miserable life. So they all knelt down in the hall, praying that Lord Shenlong could break the maze. The emperor is strong, the country is self-improving. Davey has no interest in helping a small country grow and develop, so he doesn't say much. The plot in the original book is indeed because of the perennial cowardly character of the emperor of the ancestral country, which causes the people of the other country to keep pressing step by step. In the end, Kaguya was betrayed by the emperor, which caused the beginning of all disasters. The emperor is strong, the country is self-improving. 35. The emperor of the motherland scratched his head and fell into contemplation. The ministers are also confused, but since this is what the Lord Shenlong, who is in charge of the divine power of heaven and earth, said, that should contain the big truth of implementing the Tao of heaven and earth, and they have to discuss it carefully. I really can't think of it. Seeing that Davey didn't want to take care of himself and others, they really didn't dare to ask. After all, this is a great god, and it must not be offended at all. The emperor of the motherland sighed heavily. Immediately, he respectfully arranged the most beautiful maid in person, and with Davey, arranged one of the most luxurious buildings second only to the emperor's bedroom. Ask for flowers. He also promised to rebuild the most luxurious building for Lord Shenlong to live in. Finally, I did not forget to mention that the statue of Shenlong will start to be built tomorrow, and Lord Shenlong will not be disappointed. Davey smiled. He's a cowardly person, but he's still very good at doing things. At night, Davey is ready to rest. However, at this moment, there was a sudden knock on the door. Have you rested, Lord Shenlong? The slave and Lord Kaguya have come to serve you. Davey was taken aback. What is this unfolding? He is going to rest now, but this guy, the emperor of the ancestral kingdom, actually assigned Kaguya and her servants to serve him and rest. Come in, the door is unlocked, Davey said softly with a look of interest. Advertisement. Davey could vaguely hear a, wow, princess, Shenlong's voice is so good. This lowered his voice. 0. Then, the door was pushed open, and Kaguya and her maid Aino, who were dressed in white clothes with a unique hook jade pattern, walked into the bedroom. I have seen Lord Shenlong, 9 Aino's respectful luggage said. Kaguya is also a symbolic concubine saluting, looking at Davey's pupils with a hint of curiosity. She had already learned from the servant girl Aino that the place where the two countries fought, Davey's incarnation of the dragon, was awakened by the dead and wounded of the two countries. The imperial envoy Thunder and Lightning defeated the army of the other country and saved the motherland. Knowing the great power of the man in front of him, he is in existence suspected of being a real god. So she was very curious as to what kind of terrifying strength this Lord Shenlong had, and whether he was a real god. If we get his protection, can the Otsutsuki clan pursue him? Can we entrust him to block the repulsion? Lord Shenlong, the maid will serve you and take a bath. The blushing Aino walked up to Davey and said softly. Davey glanced at Kaguya who was beside him. Kaguya met Davey's gaze and turned his head away in a panic. There was some redness and hotness on the indistinct, pale and beautiful cheeks. Fine. Didn't Kaguya serve with him? Davey secretly said it was a pity. However, he soon softened his smile and fascinated the servant girl Aino to the point of intoxication. Kaguya, who was peeking at him, also sighed inwardly that this man was born too handsome. Even her fiancé, the emperor, who already had a good impression in her heart. At this moment, because of Davey, I can't help but feel a little moved. Soon, more than an hour later, Davey came out with his clothes on. Huh? Where's Aino? Seeing Davey walking out alone, Kaguya asked suspiciously. However, next time, I saw Davey walking straight towards her. A strange panic flashed in Kaguya's eyes. Chapter 164. Kaguya who resists and accepts. 3rd. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Kaguya looked at Davey who was approaching her, took a step back, and looked at Davey vigilantly. A power loomed, and as long as Davey made unfavorable actions, she would immediately use the wide-eyed pupil technique to defend. However, feeling Kaguya-ji's weak strength, Davey touched it casually. All of her strength was wiped away. Kaguya-ji's eyes widened, and she looked at Davey in confusion. You seem to be afraid of me? 99 Approaching Kaguya-ji's delicate body, Davey smiled, stretched out his hand to lift Kaguya-ji's jaw, and looked at each other. Kaguya-ji could feel the heat exhaled by Davey, and Davey naturally smelled Kaguya's fragrant body fragrance and mouth-like fragrance. What are you going to do to me? Kaguya-ji's face was slightly red, and it was the first time in 107 that she was so close to her body by a man that she could smell each other's scent. What surprised her was that the distance that was close to her face, and now she was looking at Davey's face at the same time, she was a little fascinated. Gently sniffing Davey's breath, Kaguya's body suddenly softened. What the hell is going on with this man? Why is there a fascinating mysterious poison on his body, which makes her feel a sense of obsession? Tisk. The next moment, Kaguya-ji suddenly widened her beautiful eyes. This man kissed her so directly? Kaguya wants to resist, but now that Davey has temporarily wiped her power, she has no room to resist like mortals. Advertisement she could only be forced to accept it, but she was constantly resisting slightly, straight from the strange touch, she fell into obsession again, unable to extricate herself. And Davey also began to move his hands. Tisk, hoo-hoo. White hooked, Kaguya-ji separated from Davey with blurred eyes. After a while, Kaguya-ji straightened her white clothes with extreme shame and anger, and she was so angry that she was about to scold. But what Davey said next made her stunned, unable to speak for a long time. The embarrassed expression turned into shock. Are you afraid of the Otsutsuki clan? Davey added his lips, swallowed the rest, and then spoke slowly to the shy Kaguya-ji. Davey, who is familiar with the plot, wants to grasp Kaguya-ji is not too simple. Thousands of years ago, in this generation, Kaguya-ji, as a Otsutsuki clan, did not have a high status in the clan, and originally came to Earth with Otsutsuki. However, after she came to Earth at that time, she suddenly attacked and seriously injured Otsutsuki, and then she came to Earth alone. In the original book, it was because of greed that he devoured the fruit of the Tree of Gods, and then he was afraid that Otsutsuki would return to the clan in one go, and descended to the Earth with a strong man to capture her back. Their mission was to cultivate the divine tree and make the fruit of the divine tree, and the fruit was eaten by her. She will definitely be punished by the Otsutsuki clan. That's why I keep making white Zetsu, and I want to fight against the powerhouses of the Otsutsuki clan in the future. Be my woman, the Otsutsuki clan, if they dare to come, I will kill them all. 35. Davey took 2 steps forward, reached out and raised Kaguya's stunned face again, and said into her eyes. A powerful terrifying emperor's pressure overflowed, and Kaguya-ji was shocked to find out with a click. Advertisement beside them, the space actually burst and exploded under the influence of this terrifying pressure. Such terrifying power could not even withstand the space, and it shattered directly. Kaguya-ji was horrified. Who exactly are you? Kaguya-ji suppressed the horror in her heart, forced herself to calm down, and questioned. You and I are not people on this planet, it doesn't matter who you are. 9. But you can call me, Christy Davey. Davey smiled slightly, withdrawing his terrifying power. Then looking at Kaguya-ji's tangled expression like this, she was unexpectedly beautiful. The invitation did bring him to a good time, and today's Kaguya-ji hasn't married that cowardly prince. He is completely a fool in love, and after just a few strokes, his face turned red and his ears were hot and flustered. This is also the most beautiful moment of Kaguya-hime in the beginning. Such a Kaguya, Davey really has no reason to let him go. No, I'm already engaged to the Emperor. After a moment of contemplation, Kaguya-ji finally shook her head and rejected Davey. Now that she has been engaged to the Emperor of the Motherland, she has a good impression of him, and the Emperor is also very good to her, but she has not yet had a pro-M contact. But if she wants to break the contract like this, she doesn't want to do it. So, after thinking calmly for a moment, Kaguya-ji rejected Davey. Now it's just one Otsutsuki who was killed by her. The Otsutsuki clan did not know that she killed Otsutsuki, and she also cut off contact with other clansmen. Advertisement for the time being, there is no danger. If it reaches a certain point of no return, she will directly eat the fruit of the god tree and gain unparalleled power. Obliterate all danger. Let's just pretend that what happened today didn't happen. Next time, don't be so rude again. Kaguya-ji touched her lips, her cheeks flushed, and she gave Davey a stern look. Then, regardless of where that maid Aino went, she left the palace alone. However, she did not realize that a figure that she did not resist and refuse had already squeezed into her heart. Otsutsuki is not dead yet. Kaguya. In the original work, Otsutsuki used the secret technique little known as Viguna Jin 5.3 to enter the body of the monk with the help of passing monks and survived. It's coming back to life in the dark. Looking at the shadow of Kaguya-ji leaving, Davey raised his hand, as if the touch just now seemed to still be there, but Yiren had already left. There is still a lot of time, and Davey is not in a hurry. Kaguya-hime is resisting him now, but he already exists in her heart. Davey could clearly see that, but he just didn't want to push too hard. There was plenty of time, and he didn't mind taking his time. Since she is the woman he takes a fancy to, there is no possibility of leaving. Chapter 165 The Sad Kaguya-ji, The World Meets. The first update, please complete the order. Previous chapter. Next chapter advertisement. After Kaguya-ji returned to her own bedroom, the Emperor of the Ancestral Kingdom arrived. Before Kaguya-ji could speak, the Emperor of the Ancestral Kingdom walked in and said, Kaguya, why did you come back by yourself? 39. Did you provoke Lord Shenlong and was driven back? That's Lord Shenlong, it's a god, you can't be disrespectful to him, Kaguya. 66.99 Kaguya-ji's expression was silent, quietly watching the emotional words of the Emperor of the Ancestral Kingdom. After a while, the Emperor of the Motherland, who suddenly realized what he was, said apologetically, I'm sorry Kaguya, it's my gaffe. No matter what the reason is, you shouldn't leave. That's Lord Shenlong. If you get the protection of the gods, our motherland will definitely become a powerful country with eternal peace. Kaguya-ji's eyes moved slightly when she heard the words, and she asked softly, if even the dragon needs me. For the sake of the motherland, can I meet all the needs of the dragon? The Emperor of the Ancestral Country was stunned, his expression was a little tangled, and he said hesitantly, God, Lord Shenlong is a god, and she should only be a servant girl who needs to take care of her daily life, so it's not in the way. The Emperor of the Ancestral Country had only asked the maid and Kaguya to take care of Lord Shenlong, but he did not have the mental preparation to contribute to the witch herself. If necessary, it would be those ordinary maids. Kaguya-heim was not considered. However, after Kaguya-ji said this suddenly, the Emperor of the Motherland really has a complicated feeling. It seems to be in his subconscious, this kind of thing, if he can get the protection of Lord Shenlong. It seems also. Shaking his head, the Emperor of the Ancestral Kingdom did not dare to imagine it any longer. Serve Lord Shenlong for some more time, you and I will be married soon. The Emperor of the Ancestral Country comforted him, and then he stretched out his hand, trying to hold Kaguya-ji's slender hand. Snapped. However, a look of disappointment appeared in Kaguya-ji's eyes, she waved her sleeves lightly, and the wide cuffs flicked them away. I'm going to rest, you go. Kaguya-ji, who had a cold look on her beautiful face, turned around and said indifferently with her back to the Emperor of the Motherland. The Emperor of the Motherland looked bitter. Why did Kaguya-ji suddenly become so cold? Although the previous Kaguya-ji was relatively indifferent, at least she will not be as ruthless and indifferent as she is now. Hey. Advertisement. With a slight sigh, the Emperor of the Ancestral Kingdom left Kaguya-ji's bedroom. 66.35 Looking at the figure of the Emperor of the Ancestral Country leaving the window, Kaguya-ji bit her lip. She was very disappointed with the attitude of the Emperor of the Motherland, and the figure of the Emperor of the Motherland in her heart suddenly collapsed. Compared to that man, you are really much worse, no matter which aspect. Kaguya-heim murmured in a low voice alone. No one knew what she was thinking and what she was expressing. The next morning, maid Aino is already serving Davey's daily life. After taking a bath in the bath last night, Aino also stayed in the palace to continue serving. After a night of training, Aino, who received Davey's gift, has transformed into a Superman close to the level of second-order strength. No, I served Davey again early in the morning. After practicing, I don't have to eat a tired breakfast. After helping Davey clean up, he changed his clothes. In this original work, in order to stop the persuasion of the Emperor of the Motherland, the maid who wants to save Kaguya-heim. Davey still appreciates her, not to mention her service attitude. Davey is very satisfied. Squeak. The door was pushed open, and Kaguya-ji walked in with a slightly subtle expression, followed by 4 maids, each with a tray in her hand and a few foods. It's the meal, Lord Shenlong. Aino let out a good laugh, and said softly towards Davey respectfully. More than a dozen delicious dishes were placed on the table. Davey sat down, took a few bites and waved his hand. The taste is too ordinary, it is better to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to be full. This dish is delicious, don't you want to eat it, Lord Shenlong? Aino saw that Davey stopped eating after a few sips, and he grew up with Sakura's small mouth in surprise. These delicacies are rare for someone like her to serve Kaguya-heim. Lord Shenlong actually dislikes it so much. Sure enough, Lord Shenlong is a god from the realm of the gods, and the food he usually eats must be the best in the world. If you like it, eat it. Davey eased his smile, indicating that Aino could be welcome and let her eat. Hiccup. No, Aino can't eat anymore, I ate too much in the morning. Aino's pretty face blushed, and she covered her mouth shyly, and then rubbed her slightly bulging belly. Advertisement. His eyes glanced at Davey, a little jealous. Lord Shenlong is really bad. Knowing that she had eaten a lot early in the morning, she now told her to eat more. 66.99 Seeing that his maid Aino had such a good relationship with the man who treated her so rudely last night, Kaguya-ji suddenly felt sour in her heart, as if something she loved had been snatched away. He couldn't help being a little annoyed, and said, the Son of Heaven has already made people mine materials and start building the statue of Lord Shenlong. You can go to inspect the general and give your opinion. Oh, how could the Emperor of the Ancestral Country move so quickly? Davey was amazed. This emperor is really active enough for the development of the motherland. For himself, the Lord Shenlong, the emperor of this ancestral country, seems to be very attentive, just to get his protection. As soon as it was said and done, the execution started immediately. It is no wonder that in the original work, under the threat of the other country, he was able to resolutely betray Kaguya-ji and ordered the arrest and pursuit of Kaguya-ji. Take it all down, keep it for yourself, and don't let anyone find out. Seeing that Lord Shenlong didn't want to eat it, and Princess Kaguya-ji didn't want to eat it. Ano ordered the 4 maids to remove the delicacies. Yes, thank you Lord Shenlong for the gift. The maids were overjoyed and quickly thanked Davy. If it weren't for Davy's refusal to eat, they wouldn't have had the surprise. This kind of delicacy, such inferior maids, have never had the opportunity to try it in their entire life. Of course, I am also very grateful to Ano. Kaguya saw that Ano gave such an order, and Davy had no opinion, and his heart was a little sour. I was so rude to myself last night, and I am so nice to a maid today. Kaguya gritted her silver teeth and said, Ano, go and arrange for the maid to clean my bedroom. Late last night, there were more worms in the room. 9. Really? Okay, Kaguya-sama, I'll go right away. Hearing Kaguya say this, Ano was taken aback. You must know that she usually takes care of Kaguya-ji's daily life, and even lives in a small side room in Kaguya-ji's palace. There were more insects and rats in the bedroom, and she couldn't sleep. I'm sorry Shenlong-sama, Ano has resigned first, and I will serve you later. For the time being, Kaguya-sama will serve you. 99. Advertisement. Ano embarrassed and apologized to Davy. It's alright, let's go. Davy waved his hands indifferently. Looking at Kaguya-ji, seeing the unnatural posture of the other parties tangled, he revealed a meaningful smile. Ano left, and before leaving, he closed the door. Everyone is gone, what do you want to say now? Looking at the empty bedroom, with only himself and Kaguya-ji left, Davy looked at Kaguya-ji with a smile. 66.99 Kaguya-ji was silent, her face a little rosy. If you don't tell me, I will ask myself. 99 Seeing that Kaguya-ji was silent, Davy smiled slightly. With that beautiful smile, Kaguya-ji looked a little lost. 0.35, what do you want to say to me with Ano? You're already in love with me, Kaguya. Davy played with the weight in his hands and said to Kaguya-ji with a playful expression. Don't. I didn't like, Zhao who got it, you, don't talk nonsense. 55. I still have a marriage contract with the emperor of the ancestral country. Kaguya didn't know what to do at this time. The disappointment of the emperor of the motherland and the gentle and strong attitude of Davy, a powerful and domineering man. There is also this man's incomparable strength, the confidence that he can annihilate the Otsutsuki clan's strong self-confidence, which brings her a strong sense of security. This is something that the emperor of the motherland has never been able to do. This made her a little fascinated and began to lose her mind. It's just the country of the ancestors, if you are not comfortable, I can change the dynasty at will. Davy grabbed Kaguya-ji's slender hand and said in a strong and domineering way. Compared with the cowardly character of the emperor of the motherland, Davy's domineering makes people feel more secure. Looking at Davy, Kaguya-ji nodded silently. That's what Davy said. That's all, maybe the man in front of her is more suitable for her than that guy in the ancestral kingdom. Chapter 166 Rejection of the World, second update, ask for automatic subscription. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Until noon, the sun rose, and under Davy's knowledge and cultivation, he passed out from physical and mental exhaustion. Instructing Kaguya-ji, who has only second-order strength, to practice, Davy has to control the power to avoid killing Kaguya-ji. When you wake up, you should be on the 3rd rank, 35. Throughout the morning, Davy gave Kaguya-ji several gifts, and when Kaguya woke up, she would be able to break through the 3rd order. Lord Shenlong, Lord Kaguya, and Ano are back. Tuk. Ano, who had been busy for several hours, finally returned. Squeak. Davy's thoughts moved, and his thoughts opened the locked door. Ano snorted softly. No one opened the door for her. How could anyone open it? No, Lord Shenlong is a god, and it must be made by Shenlong. Ano misses Davy a little, and immediately rushed back after finishing his work, wanting to return to Davy's side to serve. Lord Shenlong, Lord Kaguya. When I came to the main room, I looked at Kaguya-ji, who was tired and paralyzed on the bed, and Davy, who showed a lean body of a raptor. Ano suddenly felt a thunderbolt hit from the blue, making her whole body dumbfounded. Kaguya-sama and Shenlong-sama actually, if the emperor knew about this, wouldn't it be? Ano felt absurd for a while, not knowing what to think for a while. Dumbly stood there, watching Davy and Kaguya-ji, the messy bedroom after training. Come here, Ano. Looking at the cute Ano, Davy smiled slightly, stretched out his hand and ticked, and called out in a soft voice. Yes, Lord Shenlong. Advertisement. Hearing Lord Shenlong calling out to him, Ano hurriedly walked over, gave a coquettish cry, and was pulled into his arms by Davy. Lord Shenlong, 6,699. Without much to say, the little maid Ano also sinks, and is guided by Davy to cultivate. Before several maids came to deliver the meal, Ano completed his training. The maid Ano's legs trembled, holding her tired body with difficulty, and began to put away the messy scene. After a brief taste, the maids took away the delicious food. After a short time, the emperor of the motherland brought several ministers to meet Davy. The emperor of the motherland gently sniffed his nose and seemed to smell a strange smell. But he didn't care too much. After kneeling down and salute to Davy, he asked, Lord Shenlong, now that the power of the other country has been severely damaged, is it necessary for our motherland to go to peace talks and build a peaceful generation together? 35. Please, Lord Shenlong, indicate that this is feasible? 66.99. Hearing this, Davy almost burst out laughing. The son of heaven in this ancestral country is really outrageous. He kept the other country in his hands before and only killed half of the people. As a result, the emperor of this ancestral country did not intend to send troops to conquer and destroy the other country, but to give gifts and engage in peace talks? Are your brains okay? Really off the mark. No wonder the original can do that kind of thing. This god has already said that fate is in his own hands. If you do it right, the dynasty will last for 1,000 years, otherwise it will be destroyed in front of you. Since you have already made a decision in your heart, then don't hesitate to do it. You are the lord of the country. Davey is too lazy to pay attention to this outrageous king. Whether the motherland collapses or not has nothing to do with him. Advertisement a good hand is so sloppy, why is such a person going to pay attention to him? Yes. Lord Shenlong. Seeing what Davey said, the emperor of the ancestral country mistakenly thought that it was Lord Shenlong who approved his idea and supported him to do it. The emperor of the motherland hurriedly knelt down again and was about to leave with a group of ministers. Just before leaving, looking at the beautiful Kaguya who came out of the main room, exuding a charming posture, I was a little moved. He wanted to say something, but stopped, but he was happy to see Shenlong being served well. Lord Shenlong, how did Kaguya and Ano serve you? Before leaving, the emperor of the ancestral kingdom couldn't help but ask. How well does Kaguya serve? BIFD, Davey's face was weird, showing a playful smile and said. Kaguya, she is very moist, and her spirit is also very happy. Recently, the god is teaching her to practice. Kaguya has learned a lot of skills, although the practice is a bit painful. But this feeling of continuous improvement is both painful and happy, and she must be very happy. Is that so? That's really good, ha ha ha. There is Lord Lao Shenlong, and I will guide Kaguya to practice. The emperor of the motherland was overjoyed when he heard the words, that his fiancée could actually get the cultivation guidance of Lord Shenlong, which is really great. In a few days, maybe he can cultivate and become a little god. Okay, this god will train her well every day and every night. Davey nodded and smiled, a playful smile in his eyes. Knowing that the gods were actually teaching his fiancée to practice, the emperor of the motherland left with the ministers with a happy face. Only Davey jokingly watched them leave, and Kaguya, who just came out with a sullen face. A blush flushed on her beautiful cheeks. Advertisement. Obviously, she heard everything that the two of them were talking about just now. You rude person, always talking nonsense. Kaguya glared at Davey angrily. This man actually said those words in front of her fiancé, which really embarrassed her. It's just that the emperor of the ancestral country didn't find anything unusual. This is the outrageous place. Snapped. Well, Davey reached out and pulled her over, slapped her behind him. Kaguya exclaimed in pain and looked at Davey with a little anger. What exactly do you want to do? I couldn't help it for no reason. After practicing with Davey for half a day, Kaguya calmed down. What do you want to do? Davey chuckled, stretched out his big hand, took Kaguya into his arms and said, didn't I already say at the beginning that I want you to be my wife? Kaguya heard the words, her heart trembled, and she gritted her silver teeth, not knowing what to say. This domineering man is too straightforward, but this is precisely her favorite character. Huh? 35 Suddenly, Davey felt a weak repelling force. Is it the exclusion of world consciousness? 35? Davey frowned, feeling a little unhappy all of a sudden. Chapter 167 Kaguya devours the fruit of the god tree. The third update, ask for automatic subscription. Previous chapter next chapter advertisement holding Kaguya. Davey suddenly felt a faint but growing sense of rejection. Davey immediately released his breath to resist, and soon, the sense of rejection dissipated. It's just that Davey found out that this feeling of rejection did not completely disappear, but instead was hidden to accumulate strength. System. What's going on? Davey exchanged ideas and asked the system directly. The invitation letter from the other world can stay for up to half a month, please master the time. The system answered truthfully. 66.99 Davey was speechless. Did it take so long? But it doesn't matter, anyway, he can't stay in the Hokage generation thousands of years ago. If I come next time, can I freely choose the time to cut in? Davey went on to ask, within a reasonable range, yes. That's it. Davey nodded, grudgingly accepting the answer. Looking at Kaguya in her arms, she suddenly had a headache. Can this silly white sweet choose to bring it back to the world of pirates? I asked in my heart for a while, but got a negative answer from the system. Is the future Kaguya still going the same way? Davey thought about it, and after a moment his eyes lit up, and he had an idea for a while. Advertisement. Do you really want me to be your woman? Kaguya, who was leaning against his arms, suddenly opened her thin lips, spewed pandan from her mouth, and hugged Davey with a slender jade bracelet. Certainly. Davey drew Kaguya's clean chin with 2 fingers and slapped it hard. What about the son of heaven? Speaking of this emperor, Kaguya's eyes flashed a trace of unnaturalness. This emperor, who has been very good to her from the beginning, has gradually made her feel a little good. But after the arrival of the man in front of her, this good feeling was quickly shattered, so that Davey was in her heart now. Let him abdicate, and in the future you will be the queen of the motherland and rule the world. A mortal emperor, Davey will not let Kaguya experience the heart-rending pain of being betrayed by love in the original book. Kaguya has now become his woman, and of course only herself can bully her from now on. And the Emperor of the Motherland and the people of the other country all have to die. Davey intends to take the fruit of the sacred tree and let Kaguya-ji eat it. Kaguya-ji in the original book is also betrayed by love, so she will be so cruel after eating the fruit of the god tree. With him around, a mere Kaguya girl, can she still make a world of her own? I'm a queen. Kaguya-ji was stunned when she heard the words. However, I do not have such a powerful force that I can rule the world. Kaguya suddenly remembered the importance of the fruit of the divine tree to the Otsutsuki clan, which is the fruit that enables the Otsutsuki clan to evolve and gain stronger power. However, if she eats it, she will not be able to communicate with the main family at that time. If you don't eat it, you won't be able to gain the powerful power that causes her to change. Don't worry about eating, I will protect you. 35. Davey stroked Kaguya's head lightly, and the latter narrowed his eyes in delight and gave a sweet smile. Advertisement. At this moment, Kaguya-ji, snuggling in Davey's arms, felt an unprecedented sense of happiness, closed her eyes with satisfaction, and sniffed Davey's scent. Very fascinated. After spending the night instructing Kaguya-hime to practice, Kaguya-hime is completely attached to Davey's action. While dealing with Kaguya-ji, Davey occasionally guides the practice of the maid Aino. Kaguya-ji knew about this and had no opinion. Instead, she asked Aino to practice well and cooperate with Davey. When necessary, Kaguya-ji couldn't beat Davey alone, and was abused so badly, she would call Aino to deal with Davey together. Several days passed. On this day, the emperor of the ancestral country came to the door. Unsurprisingly, the other country directly rejected the peace talks. And also threatened that a lake and other places on the border between the two countries belonged to the other country. And for this reason, he continued to coerce and provoke the motherland, and wanted to start a war again. As for why the other country would provoke the country of the motherland so much, it was not afraid of temporarily living in the country of the dragon's motherland. That's because Lord Kun and two ministers of the other country, the folk ancient scrolls that they got from nowhere, learned a secret story. Legend has it that the gods must not hurt the people for no reason and cause mass killings. So they feel like they can do it again. However, if Davey knew about this, I'm afraid he would have laughed outright. Davey at this meeting is taking Kaguya-ji to the place where the sacred tree is planted. Following Kaguya-ji's casual move, the fruit of the divine tree turned into a light ball and slowly descended, floating in Kaguya-ji's raised palm. Is this the fruit of the divine tree? Looking at the light ball held by Kaguya-ji's hands, Davey touched his chin, a little curious. Open black lens bracket fruit of the divine tree close black lens bracket quality, platinum advertisement. Effect. After taking it by a specific race, you can obtain the power of bloodline degeneration, and obtain extremely powerful strength. Introduction. The magical plant that is special to the Otsutsuki clan absorbs the nutrition of a whole planet, gives birth to the fruit of the divine tree, and makes the people of the race degenerate. Note. This is a less ripe fruit. 0 is it platinum level? It is the same level as the divine tree seed he summoned. Davey's eyes lit up, so to speak. Kaguya after eating the fruit of the divine tree, combined with the performance in the original book, is at least a 6th order powerhouse. Seems not bad, but isn't this divine tree fruit yet fully ripe? Davey frowned, thinking about the situation in the original book. It seems that too. It hasn't been a long time since the divine tree was planted, and the earth's nutrients have been completely absorbed. Use origin point catalysis. Davey raised his hand to cover the fruit of the divine tree, and the next moment, the 3,000 source points evaporated and merged into it. The fruit of the divine tree emitting golden light suddenly became colorful. There is a more mysterious breath and an extremely strong vitality. Okay, let's eat. Kaguya operator. Kaguya-ji could feel that the fruit of the divine tree was approaching the perfect state at this time, and gratefully nodded her lovely head towards Davey. He opened his mouth and inhaled, and the fruit of the divine tree turned into a streamer, which was swallowed by Kaguya-ji. The next moment, an extremely terrifying force burst out from her delicate body. On Kaguya-ji's bright forehead, a heavenly eye suddenly opened, showing off the blood-red Sharingan of the Nine Hooks Jade. Chapter 168 Davey returns. Kaguya is the Emperor. The first update, ask for automatic subscription. Previous chapter next chapter advertisement the heavenly eye on his forehead opened, revealing a blood-red 9-go Jade Sharingan. At the same time, a pair of wooden horns also grew on the top of Kaguya-ji's head. Akun's majestic power suddenly broke out, and the whole world surrendered to Kaguya-ji's thought at this moment. System. Check the Kaguya-ji panel properties. Looking at Kaguya-hime showing Kamui above the sky, Davey let out a small laugh, checking the properties of Kaguya-hime's panel at this time. Open black lens bracket Otsutsuki Kaguya close black lens bracket rank, 6th order peak race, Otsutsuki. Talents. Tianmu. Sharingan, immortal body, blood followers, white eyes, summoning. Abilities. Sharingan, immortal body, integration of nature, coming of god and tree realm, truth-seeking ball, airstrike of 80 gods, total killing of ash bone, white eye pupil, summoning, 5 attributes of yin-yang, chakra, flying, rabbit needles. Weapon. Non-comprehensive evaluation. The goddess of Mao who descended from another star, the goddess and empress of Kun bordering on this realm. P.S. Some of Rinnegan's abilities are summarized, so I won't write them out. After practicing with him for a few days, Kaguya, who ate a lot of menstrual fluid refining, broke through the 3rd order strength. Now that after eating the fruit, has it directly broken through to the 6th order peak? With Kaguya-Ji's current master's ability, ordinary 7th order true kings may not be her opponents. The attributes of the Kaguya-Heim panel at this moment are so luxurious. G. Today's Kaguya-Ji is 18 with terrifying strength, and can be ranked in the top 3 among the many figures under his hands. Davey tilde operator, after releasing the power, Kaguya slowly landed, and with a terrifying aura, she walked to Davey with a smile. Flutter, different from the aura of the goddess Kun who was in the world just now, Kaguya-Ji gained the power to destroy the world. At this time, she was still like a silly and sweet goddess in love, and she threw herself into Davey's arms with a look of joy. The fruit of the god tree, I really ate it, the power I have now is very strong. If the original Otsutsuki comes again, I can kill him in one move. Davey hugged Kaguya-Ji and said, well, I used the power of the source to catalyze the fruit of the god tree, consolidate and eliminate some bad effects. In this way, when you use this power in the future, it will be more stable and powerful. 35. Kaguya-Ji's beautiful cheeks were full of infatuation, greedily sniffing Davey's body, and tapping her cute little head. Seeing such a cute and well-behaved goddess Kaguya being so obedient to him, Davey smiled lightly, raised his hand to caress her head, and occasionally touched her horns. Boom! The horns were stroked, and Kaguya-Ji's delicate body trembled, and the feeling was even more than usual, and the whole body felt like an electric current, and her body softened. Breathing hot, he buried his head in Davey's neck and shoulders. It is worth mentioning that Davey's height is now controlled at 1.8 to 1.9 meters by him. Advertisement otherwise Kaguya-Ji is almost like an oversized figure. It's just, the usual Remrams are relatively petite, and when they were training with Davey, they were really, cough. Occasionally, Davey still takes control of his size. After all, common guidance and cultivation requires appropriate coordination. Otsutsuki, that guy is not dead yet, you have to be careful. With Kaguya-Ji's current strength, it's still very simple to kill Otsutsuki. But Davey still reminded aloud. Well, I noticed it a long time ago, that guy is not dead. But if he dares to appear again, I will crush him to death. Kaguya-Ji nodded and said in a domineering and fierce tone. Ding, congratulations to the master for completing the hidden task, true love of the goddess of Mao. You have successfully conquered a female boss in another dimension, and gained the love and affection of the other party. Rewards. 10,000 origin points, world origin 1. Davey was taken aback when he heard the system prompt. Is this also possible? And what is the origin of the world? It's just that at the moment of getting the reward, Davey found that the world's consciousness rejected him even more strongly. A faint voice could be heard in anger, accusing him of his immorality. Davey understood all of a sudden, the dog system. No wonder he always felt the world's repulsive force against him. It turned out that the system forcibly broke the dimensional wall and smashed the consciousness of this world to the ground. This is how he came to this world. And the origin of the world just obtained was excavated from the world itself. The system is really yours, come on, go back. The two returned to their motherland at night. A new round of practice for Kaguya-Heim begins again. It's just that a figure came to the outside of the hall at an unknown time. He wanted to knock on the door, but when he heard the voice inside. But it was like being struck by lightning, listening to the screams and groans of Kaguya-Ji when she was practicing. At this moment, he realized something, and his eyes suddenly lost color. The whole person leaned against the wooden pillar, completely down. When he listened to it for a few seconds, he had already fallen into a state of loss of all 5 senses, and after a while, the swaying Yuchi left as if he was inactive. Lord Shenlong and his fiancée Kaguya-Ji, actually. He's gone, advertisement. Davey, who was pressing Kaguya-Ji to attack the practice, said jokingly. You bad guy, you, did you do it on purpose, huh? Kaguya hummed with pain and pleasure, 39. Davey smiled and attacked Kaguya-Ji, who was at the peak of the 6th order power, and attacked even more fiercely. Was it intentional? Who knows? On the side, there is Aino, who has long been exhausted physically and mentally, unable to faint. Even if Aino was transformed into a Rankar Manos Grande by Davey using Hogyoku, the fighting power is still too poor. And with Davey doing his best, Kaguya-Ji soon screamed and was defeated. Then he was very unconvinced and continued to challenge Davey. Until dawn, repeated several days. In the end, Kaguya-Ji's 6th order terrifying strength couldn't hold it any longer, and was taught by Davey to the fullest. Has it reached its limit? Seeing the cracked space and the repulsive force coming, Davey's eyes were a little bad. This damn world consciousness. I can only wait until the next time I come to this world completely, and then I will have a good fight with the world. See you next time, Kaguya tilde operator. Lightly kissing Kaguya-Ji, who was still sleeping, Davey's eyes shot. A ray of light escaped into Kaguya-Ji's forehead and merged into the Sharingan of the 9-Go Jade reincarnation in her eyes. With the backhand he arranged, the things in the original book will no longer happen. The next moment, the door of Uzumaki appeared, and Davey's figure disappeared in it. When Davey disappeared, Kaguya-Heim, who was still sleeping, suddenly opened her beautiful eyes. Davey, my beloved man, my concubine will always be waiting for your return. Kaguya-Ji said in a low voice. The next moment, a wave of Kun terror swept the entire motherland. I am Otsutsuki Kaguya, and from now on, I shall ascend the throne of the motherland. Change the country name to Christie Kingdom. The entire motherland was shaking up and down. The ministers were furious and led the despairing son of the ancestral kingdom to fight, but they were quickly attacked by Kaguya. Tens of thousands of troops were directly annihilated, with heavy casualties, and soon surrendered to the rule of Kaguya. Shortly thereafter, the entire chaotic Sengoku era was subdued, all fell, and was unified by Kaguya. The whole world is under the rule of Kaguya. And the goddess of Mao, who is said to be the wife of Lord Shenlong, has been waiting for the return of Shenlong Fukun. Pirate World. Advertisement: step out of the gate of Uzumaki in time and space. In the familiar King's Hall, the summoned characters are notified in advance, and all are here waiting for the return of their Kun Lord. Tread. Stepping out of the gate of Uzumaki, Davey sits on the 110th throne. Welcome back, Davey Sam, 66.99 Remram's two lovely little maids have been waiting for a long time with black tea desserts. Long time no see, Remram. Rubbing the heads of the two lovely little maids, Davey said in a gentle and indulgent tone. The two little maids nodded heavily, although they missed it very much, they wanted to throw themselves into Lord Davey's arms. But the current scene doesn't match, so I can bear it. Just another person. Esdes didn't care so much. Finally back, my king. Tisk. Walking up the steps of the throne, Esdes directly and eagerly kissed Davey, ignoring the people below. After a long time, Esdes Shangshi added, licked the silk thread, and the color of love in his eyes was extremely rich. Okay, let's talk about it later. After stroking Esdes for a while, Davey felt numb as he looked at the longing looks of the women below. It seems that I don't want to rest for a while. This group of female characters, the two-dimensional wives, had to pull him crazy and ask for guidance and cultivation. Cough cough, what is the situation in the world now? Stabilizing the two-dimensional wives, Davey asked solemnly. Back to the king. Naval headquarters is recruiting troops from the world, and its strength is unprecedentedly strong. After the Red Line incident 2 years ago, the world government has donated a lot of treasures, materials, beauties, talents and technologies to our country. 66.99 Next is Ulquiorra's report. One of them surprised Davey very much. Doflamingo, or was he defeated by the Straw Hats? However, in the end, the Straw Hat crew were repelled, and Dressrosa was still in Doflamingo's hands. Chapter 169. The Kingdom of Horror. Kuzan, who was frightened. Second update, please subscribe automatically. Previous chapter. Next chapter advertisement. After hearing the information reported by Ulquiorra, Davey nodded, thinking a little. In the 10 days since he left, nearly 2 years have passed in the pirate world. The Straw Hat Boy is also much stronger than in the original book. Admiral's Doflamingo was defeated, although he was later defeated by the Straw Hat crew and escaped by the Straw Hat crew. Dressrosa was not lost, but was still completely in Doflamingo's hands. Oh, it's really interesting. 99. Is it the corrective power of the world, or is it Joey Boy who woke up early? 66.99 Davey knew it was definitely not that simple. The strength of Doflamingo after his transformation is not to say that he can win the 4 emperors, but it is also an absolute admiral level combat power. Straw Hat Luffy can actually beat Doflamingo once, which is much stronger than the original performance. How is the army in the kingdom now? Suddenly thinking of something, Davey asked. Esdes, who was sitting on Davey's lap, did not reply, and General Virgil, who was below, stood up with discernment and said respectfully. Today, Christie Kingdom has nearly 1.6 million first-class former nationals plus newborns, and 3.05 million second-class nationals, 35. In the past 2 years, there have been 6.36 million third-class nationals who have joined the kingdom to be determined, 55. 400,000 soldiers in the establishment and 800,000 soldiers outside. A total of 50,000 soldiers in the establishment took the intermediate enhancement potion, and the remaining 350,000 took the primary enhancement potion. The soldiers who took the mid-level strengthening potion, each had more than 2,800 Dao strength, and a few soldiers successfully exceeded 3,000 Dao strength. The remaining 1.1 million foreign soldiers did not take any potions, 99. In addition, the old minister has trained a total of 2,000 silver knights and 10,000 bronze knights. They are the knight escort directly under your majesty the king. P.S. The foreigners here generally refer to the troops that were recruited from other kingdoms. Hearing Virgil's report, Davey's mouth rose slightly, revealing a satisfied smile that was extremely Enshi Junmei. All the women present were stunned. Fear, advertisement. This army is terrifying. 50,000 soldiers whose per capita stamina exceeds 2,800 are basically a group of vice admiral. Although it is a shortcoming in terms of combat experience and combat ability. But this does not prevent these soldiers from having the basic combat power of vice admiral. You must know that an ordinary vice admiral only starts at the value of 2 or 3,000 Dao strength. Rob Lucci is strong, right? Lu Chi in the Enies Lobby incident already had the strength level of vice admiral in the middle and upper reaches, and his Dao strength value was 4,000 at that time. 2 years later, his strength has soared to the level of quasi-admiral, and he is qualified as a CP0 officer, responsible for protecting the safety of the Tianlong people. And now he has 50,000 vice admiral soldiers, plus the remaining 350,000 soldiers with an average of 4 to 500 Dao. Such an invincible army attacked with all its members, enough to smash all the kingdoms in the whole world. Not to mention there are many powerful summoned characters. 4 Emperors Kaido is committed to building an army of zone-capable people? Not shit. Kaido of the Beasts has long stopped buying artificial devil fruit, BIFD, from Doflamingo. With the protection of Christie's kingdom, even if he has a gentian, he doesn't dare to go wild and look for Doflamingo's troubles. That's only the Straw Hat Luffy, the reckless protagonist who keeps going forward, would do that. Next is the report of the ministers. The area of the kingdom has been expanded more than 20 times, and the reconstruction have been carried out with great swords and axe. The entire kingdom that was originally turned into a royal capital, and the other regions have established towns and villages one after another. And now the palace alone is 10 times bigger than it used to be, and the Christie kingdom is now a superpower. Whether it is construction or various fields, economic technology, entertainment life, residences welfare, etc., all are quite perfect. Davey, take a look at the current level of Christie's kingdom. Open black lens bracket Kingdom of Christie. LV5 close black lens bracket King. Christie Davey national strength. 5307 up pointing arrow. National happiness. 2088 up pointing arrow kingdom territory. 10.36 million square kilometers. Nationals. 4.65 million plus, 160 plus Aboriginal people newly added 3.05 million. Kingdom special effects. 1. Like a tiger. 2. Brave and good at fighting. 3. Bloody battle. 4. Abundant crops. 5. Indestructible. Advertisement overall evaluation. This is a powerful super kingdom with terrifying power to conquer the world. Good guy, it has become a level 5 kingdom. 2 more kingdom special effects. Davey clicked on 2 new kingdom special effects with great interest to check their effect properties. Open black lens bracket Kingdom of Christie special effects 4. Harvest. Harvest plus 100, food growth plus 100. Close black lens bracket. Abundant grains. In your kingdom, the weather is good, the grains planted by the people will speed up the time to mature, and the harvest will be multiplied tenfold. Open black lens bracket Kingdom of Christie special effects 5. Indestructible. Solid plus 100, hardness plus 100. Close black lens bracket. Indestructible. Your kingdom defense buildings will become solid, hard, and indestructible, and can easily withstand artillery bombardment. Is this a kingdom special effect to solve the food and city defense problems? Davey nodded slightly. These 2 special effects are not bad. One is to solve the problem of insufficient food production capacity. Today, the population of Christie Kingdom has exploded, and food is a huge problem. Now, with the accelerated ripening of grains and the final tenfold harvest effect, there is no need to worry about grain storage at all. You know, because this world is an island world, planting is not easy. In many island kingdoms and towns, the food is very poor, there is nothing to eat, and many people starve to death. The second special effect is also good. The buildings in the city defense have been reinforced and become invincible, and there is no need to worry about the buildings being destroyed when fighting. But probably, no one dares to come to Christie Kingdom to seek death. The whole army is adjusted. After 1 month, all the kingdoms in the target New World will be captured by this king. In addition, the big pirates who attacked the New World, especially the 4 Emperors pirates, will stay for a while for those with excellent abilities, and for those with special fruit abilities. The whole army is commanded by General Esdes, 6,699. After listening to the reports from Ulquiorra, Virgil and the ministers, Davey sorted out his thoughts and immediately gave an order that was extremely resolute and majestic. An order that shook the world, enough to bring up a monstrous storm, kept coming out of Davey's mouth. The summoned figures and ministers below all obeyed orders with serious expressions. There is only one person, and his face in the crowd is particularly heavy. This person is naturally Kuzan, who joined Christie Kingdom with another purpose from the beginning. Listen to King Davey, who disappeared for nearly 2 years, and the man returns. After listening to the reports of the ministers, he will start his crazy plan in order to conquer the world. Kuzan, the former Marine Admiral, suddenly felt a tingling in his scalp, and his heart was violently shaken and horrified. Especially when he heard the kingdom's military strength mentioned by General Virgil, the whole person was stunned. Advertisement: more than 50,000 soldiers with an average strength of 2,800 points, equivalent to the strength of Vice Admiral in Marine. There are also 350,000 superhuman troops with a strength value of 400 to 500. He usually doesn't know about this invincible army of 400,000 people. Especially those 50,000 people with an average of 2,800 plus Dow Force Terrorist Corps. How did this kingdom do it? Elementary, intermediate enhancement potions. Is this a terrifying army of hundreds of thousands of soldiers created by these things? He remembered that he had been appreciated by the then Minister Mars a year ago. He was given a primary enhancement potion, but his strength and stamina increased a little, but he didn't care too much. As a result, I heard such terrifying words today. It is conceivable how much shock Kuzan has endured in his heart now. Kuzan gulped a few mouthfuls of saliva, and he also felt an extremely difficult question. Although this man's plan is a little too crazy, but one thing has to be said, it is quite right. Then fight the pirates, especially the 4 Emperors pirates. Kuzan firmly believed in his heart that the terrifying kingdom of Christie Kingdom, as long as this man treats him seriously. This is absolutely doable, but, after all the pirates are wiped out, what about naval headquarters? And the root of all evil, the world government 5 elders, the dragon race. The kingdom of Christie is now about to attack the kingdom that conquered the New World. The world government, which has more than 170 affiliated countries around the world, faces the crazy plans of Christie Kingdom. Will definitely launch the most enthusiastic counterattack. At that time, a catastrophe sweeping the whole world will inevitably break out. Kuzan suddenly felt so tired and didn't know what to do. As the party who issued the order, Davey naturally saw Kuzan's horrified performance. Davey smiled and didn't care. It doesn't matter whether Kuzan joins the kingdom sincerely or chooses to report to the world government and naval headquarters. Because, no one can stop the powerful attack of Christie Kingdom and the Great Plan. Chapter 170 Artificial Devil Fruit, Beastier Mother? 3rd. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. In the 2 years that Davey disappeared, the world government sent a large amount of materials, technical talents, and professional elites. A lot of various things, just to stabilize the kingdom of Christie. 2 years ago, when Christie's kingdom leapt over the red line, King Davey was invited by the 5 elders to have a banquet in the ancient city of Pan. Afterwards, the big event that broke down with the 5 elders and smashed the red line with one sword can be said to have shocked the whole world. The style of that sword, the explosion and spread, made all swordsmen in the world look forward to worship and target Davey. Once put Davey on the throne of the world's largest swordsman. It's just that Mahawk, the world's largest swordsman, has never actually played against Davey, so he has not been transferred to the first position for the time being. However, Hawkeye Mahawk once boasted that he will definitely ask King Davey to learn from each other once he has the opportunity to compete. People all over the world thought that the world government would start a war against Christie Kingdom because of this. The surprising result is that the world government actually claimed that the safe route was too small because there were not enough safe routes. They held a banquet to entertain King Christie, and asked the other party to take action, and cut out a new wide safe route with a sword. After that, I thanked King Christie for his action and gave a lot of things to Christie Kingdom. When the news came out, the world was in an uproar. The world government really wants to lose face for the sake of face. Even this kind of nonsense was made up. Dressrosa. In the palace hall, Doflamingo, who was wearing a bandage, added his lips after learning that King Davey had returned. Immediately choose to contact the headmaid Rem. Hey, sigh. United Straw Hats want to overthrow the kingdom? Is your understanding of me still 2 years ago? Looking at the 2 women who were bound in the hall with angry and unwilling faces, Doflamingo sneered and sneered. Now even Kaido of the Beasts doesn't dare to set foot on Dressrosa easily and lead troops to fight with him. Violet and Rebecca, 2 princesses of 2 generations, dared to bring the Straw Hat Pirates along with a group of people to fight him. Although he was defeated by the Alliance at the beginning, it was fortunate that there were a large number of low-level virtuals and Jillian Manos Grande, which bought him time. In the end, the Straw Hat crew was defeated and repulsed. As for why the defeated Straw Hat crew were able to escape, it was naturally thanks to their good helpers. With their lives, a way was paved for the Straw Hat crew. And the assistance of that blind Marine. Advertisement. HMPH, wait for me, Straw Hat. Doflamingo gritted his teeth viciously, this time thanks to the Manos Grande Legion that Lord Davey had given him. This time he might capsize in the gutter. In order to protect the manufacturing plant of the artificial devil fruit from being destroyed, he was besieged again and again. Otherwise, he wouldn't be defeated so fast. Let the Straw Hat Boy defeat him. Moses, who is it? Soon, the contact phone was connected, and a lovely female voice came from the other end. Doflamingo's wicked face suddenly disappeared, and he changed into a respectful, even a bit flattering expression. Violet and Rebecca, who were bound, were both stunned, and for a while, their expressions of anger, unwillingness and despair were sluggish. Is this still that wicked, cunning, powerful, and terrifying Doflamingo? Why did it suddenly change to this face? Moses, it's me, I'm Doflamingo. Doflamingo knew that it was the head maid next to Lord Davey, Sister Remlem, who answered the phone bug. For an existence like him, if you want to contact Lord Davey, you can only contact Sister Remlem first. Then notify Lord Davey, and finally give permission to talk or not. 66. Oh, it's you, what's the matter? Rem on the other end of the phone was obviously silent for a while, thinking about who the owner of the name Doflamingo is. After a moment of trying to recall it, Rem remembered it. It turned out that he surrendered to the King of Davey 2 years ago and was also the captain of a pirate group. It's just that after becoming a non-staff vassal of Christie Kingdom, Doflamingo has announced the dissolution of the pirate group. That is, the guy who kept supplying devil fruit to Christie Kingdom. That's right, I want to contact the king, and if I have something to report, please let Miss Rem inform me. Doflamingo asked respectfully. Just wait. This Doflamingo is a good guy, qualified to contact Davey. Rem agreed to Doflamingo's request as soon as she took stock of it. Soon, Davey's lazy voice came from the contact phone bug. Doflamingo, what's going on? 35. Davey patted Ram's little head, motioning for her to move lightly. Ram almost rested on his throat and silently slowed down. Welcome your return, the king. The latest batch of artificial devil fruit has been made and will be sent to Christie Kingdom soon. Advertisement. The maturity of this batch of artificial devil fruit reaches 96%, and the side effects are only 3%. Humans who take this batch of artificial devil fruit will at most only have side effects such as the growth of cat ears and cattails. It is already the best artificial devil fruit. In addition, we have now mastered the artificial devil fruit with a controllable degree of completion, which is divided into low quality, medium high, and high quality. corresponding to the large half-body beastization originally provided to Kaido of the beasts, the medium part beastization, and the very small part beastization. When it comes to the production of artificial devil fruit, Doflamingo is obviously a little proud, after giving up those useless technical research and manufacturing. He followed Davey's order and ordered Guy to continue his research on devil fruit with all his strength. After 2 years of research and improvement, the quality of artificial devil fruit has been continuously improved. Up to the 96% maturity of this latest batch, almost perfect. However, when facing Davey, Doflamingo didn't dare to show even the slightest bit of his shyness. Oh, hearing this, Davey couldn't help but light up. He instantly thought of a word: beastier girl. Well done, keep working hard, Davey praised happily. Ask for flowers. It's all thanks to the king. If it wasn't for the reward that the king gave me to become stronger, I, Doflamingo, would not have achieved what I am today. In the face of Davey's compliments, Doflamingo did not dare to accept it calmly, and repeatedly said compliments. I heard about the fact that the Straw Hat Pirates made a fuss about Dressrosa. If it happens again, you should abdicate. Let someone who has the ability go up, and you can practice hard. 35. Since Doflamingo has improved the artificial devil fruit like this, the Straw Hat crew made a fuss about Dressrosa, almost transposing it, and he wasn't going to punish him. However, severe reprimands are still required. First compliment and then hit a stick. This is the correct way to govern. Listening to Davey's dignified and domineering reprimand from the phone bug, Doflamingo broke down in a cold sweat. Yes, the subordinate is convicted. If there is any more, I will directly punish myself. Doflamingo repeatedly admitted his mistakes and then continued. In addition, one more thing is that this batch of artificial devil fruit will be delivered to Christie Kingdom in the next few days. Point 0 This batch of artificial devil fruit has a total of 15 pieces, plus 1 billion Baileys, 500 guns and ammunition, and advertisement. There are 2 of them, maybe the things that you will be interested in, Lord King. Boo. I hope you like it. Oh, Davey became curious when he heard this, something that interests him? There are not many things that can interest him. To be sloppy with this king? Davey's tone sank, and Doflamingo almost shivered when he heard the unpleasant tone. So he quickly corrected his attitude and said respectfully and timidly, it's the former King Dressrosa, the daughter of King Riku, Violet. And King Riku's granddaughter, Rebecca. These 2 princesses attacked me together with outsiders, and in the end I defeated them, and these 2 were also captured by me. These 2 princesses are beautiful, and it may be good to be a maid in the palace by the king's side. Doflamingo wiped his sweat, some words he didn't dare say too clearly. But he is very clear what the master's preferences are. If it weren't for this, he would have executed these 2 women long ago. Well done, don't do it next time. Davey sat on the throne, silent for a moment, and finally said something lightly. Ram grunted and was full. After tidying up and standing up, Davey shifted his position. Yes, don't do it next time. He is not a fool. Doflamingo looked at the phone bug that was hung up, and slowly exhaled a sigh of relief. He did so much, and finally escaped. After listening to the whole process, Violet and Rebecca looked at Doflamingo in horror. There were tears of despair in his eyes. Chapter 171 The Terrified Charlotte Linlin. The first one, ask for automatic subscription. Previous chapter Next chapter advertisement 2 years have passed, and the mermaid princess Shiroshi has come of age. After taking the transformation pill, the legs will change, and you can practice normally like a human being. Then I couldn't wait to ask Davey for training guidance, and I practiced under Davey's guidance for a period of time. The level has successfully broken through from the 0 level to the 2nd level, and he also specially asked Queen Medusa, the patriarch of the snake people, about his cultivation experience. Then Davey gave the 2 of them individual spiritual guidance. I have to say that the talents of the snake people and the mermaid are really good, and they are interested. Davey will also let them change back to the form of mermaid and snake man, and practice the original form, but unexpectedly, they will become stronger. Now Shiroshi can easily defeat the giant virtual. After all, he has learned 2-color hockey, and under Davey's teaching, his strength has grown by leaps and bounds. Other characters who called 110, Halibal, Elsa Nangong, Nea, etc., all continued to challenge Davey. Naturally, one by one, after being madly abused by Davey, they learned their lessons. They digested their experience after the defeat and continued to practice. Under his guidance, the 2-dimensional sister papers have grown stronger and stronger. There was another incident more than a year ago. Berndiwaldo attacked the 9 Snake Island and wanted to capture the pirate empress. However, Terumi May appeared at a critical moment, joined the Empress Hancock, killed Berndiwaldo on the spot, and then completely wiped out the pirate group reformed by the other party. He is also an old guy who is courting death, and he actually paid attention to the head of the Empress Hancock. After that, Davey came to the daughter country of 9 Snake Island instantly through reverse summoning. Using the power of Hogyoku to enhance the power of the Empress Hancock, Hancock's sweet fruit was successfully awakened. Advertisement: the strength has skyrocketed by leaps and bounds, and he is already an Admiral level 5th order powerhouse. The infinite terrifying charm and perfect body made Davey fascinated for a while. Take the Empress Hancock and Terumi May back to Christie Kingdom. Then, naturally, they continued to conduct special training and sparring with the king's female bodyguards formed by these 2-dimensional sisters. Help them master stronger power. That's it. A month passed quickly, and the army of Christie's kingdom set off. 300,000 Christie Kingdom Army, 300,000 low-level cannon fodder, hundreds of Jillian Manos Grande, 10 Hogyoku Ronkarized Ajukas Manos Grande. Led by many summoned characters, they began their crusade against the New World. Time back to more than half a month ago. Universal Todo Land, Cake Island. Charlotte was still eating gourmet desserts when suddenly a tragic shout came into the hall. Mom, no, that man is here again, that guy. A staggering figure broke into the hall, and Charlotte Lingling was suddenly interrupted to enjoy the delicious dessert, and she was furious. Opera, do you want to die? Charlotte Lingling was furious, and a wicked breath came to her face, and Opera the Creamer shuddered and explained. Mom, that terrifying man, came with those 3 people again. That man? Charlotte Lingling's anger stagnated, and she couldn't recall the man Opera said. I don't know who he was talking about, but the name Opera said next made her huge fat body tremble suddenly. Advertisement, that man, Aizen Sosuke, As soon as the owner of this name was heard, the figure in the Cake Island appeared more than a year ago, showing the terrifying strength. Charlotte Lingling's pupils shrank, and her huge fat body couldn't help trembling in horror. This monster is here again, quack quack. When it comes to Aizen's name, Charlotte Lingling stammered and lost her appetite for her favorite dessert. The man had appeared on Cake Island more than a year ago. With an absolutely invincible terrifying posture, he descended on Toronto of the Nations and suppressed all her family members. Whether it is the children of many ministers, the 3 generals, or the strongest Katakuri. All were defeated at the hands of the 2 subordinates beside him. And he himself didn't need to do anything at all, he just released the terrifying pressure, and he showed an invincible attitude. In the end, Charlotte Lingling broke out and fought Aizen. As a result, she naturally lost, and it was easy. Charlotte Lingling is horrified when she thinks about it now. That kind of power, even the former Captain Rocks never had. This guy is a god and a devil, yo, are you there? Moments later, when Charlotte Lingling was horrified to gather the family's high-end fighting force after that. Aizen dressed in white, with Tusen Kanami and Yin, suddenly appeared in the hall. Aizen calmly greeted Charlotte Lingling and others. Advertisement, why are you here again? Charlotte Lingling shrank, looking at the many children gathered around her. He swallowed his saliva, raised his courage a little, and asked loudly. Well, that's a good question. Aizen raised his eyebrows and said with a smile, I happen to be passing by to collect those 500 souls from you. One more thing is that my lord the king has returned, and the gifts prepared to celebrate the return of the lord of the king are up to you to come out. Aizen's indifferent and reasonable words instantly made the Charlotte family's teeth itch with anger. 500 souls is of course what Charlotte Lingling asked Aizen to save her life. Every once in a while, 500 high-quality souls are donated to Aizen to keep the Charlotte family alive. That is to say, Aizen at that time was very interested in Charlotte Lingling's soul fruit ability, so he left him alive. Listening to what Aizen said about the 5.3 king, the panic in Charlotte Lingling's eyes deepened. This terrifying guy who looks like a real monster is actually someone else's subordinate. Thinking about it, Charlotte Lingling was completely frightened by this sentence. The other Charlotte family members were also terrified, and they could become the king and master of this devil-like terrifying guy in front of him. How terrifying should it be? Well, Captain Aizen, the little girl over there seems pretty good. My lord the king should like it. 35 Suddenly, Yin Xiao squinted and groaned, looking at the girl with light brown wavy hair in the crowd. Chapter 172 Pirate Expo. Straw Hat Crew. Second update. Ask for automatic subscription. Previous chapter next chapter advertisement with Yin's voice falling. Everyone looked at the crowd, the light brown wavy-haired girl occupying a relatively off-angle and lonely place. She has a cute and pretty face like a doll, wearing a princess dress, showing a majestic Snow White. Seeing those 3 terrifying guys, suddenly pointed at him, putting in the corner of the crowd froze for a moment. He came back to his senses and waved his hands again and again in fear, with a face of nervous and fearful resistance. Really, she does have a peculiar power in her. 99. Following Yin's gaze, Aizen raised his horns and smiled slightly. Do you have the devil fruit power unique to this world? Aizen nodded. Having been in this world for so long, Aizen naturally understood the power of devil fruit. It is somewhat similar to the existence of a rule-like power, which generally belongs to a complete law that has been broken and divided into large and small fragments of power. There are strong and weak, divided into superior and inferior branches and other levels, and there are 18 many unique abilities. It was fun. It's just that this kind of power divided into countless parts makes Aizen less interested. Too weak for this kind of power. With his strength, the master's Keto ability and other abilities, Devil Fruit's ability, are really useless to him. Just like Charlotte Lingling in front of her, her master's top soul fruit ability was completely restrained by their Shinigami and Manos Grande races. I know. 500 high-quality souls will be given to you right away, and pudding, plus some treasures and precious items for dessert. Advertisement Charlotte Lingling resisted the humiliation and anger and agreed to the request made by Aizen. Enduring the heartache, he reported a lot of gifts as gifts to Aizen and to Davey. Mother. After listening to Charlotte Lingling's gift, Katakuri and other children were shocked and looked at Charlotte Lingling in disbelief. Their mother actually agreed to the request of these 3 guys? Nothing else matters, but pudding is their beloved sister. How can you be so resolute and give as much as you say? Of course, Those who have this idea are naturally those brothers and sisters who are closer to pudding. The rest of Charlotte's children didn't feel anything wrong. Since these three people are so powerful and terrifying, then send a child to the king behind him. Become the other party's maid or one of many concubines. Maybe you can still form a relationship with the other party. This is the real surprise. After all, their Charlotte family has always been like this. I don't know how many forces have been married. After an hour, everything was collected. Come on, please, Silver. Aizen waved his hand, took it all away, and got involved in the casual space. Today, Aizen, which has thousands of families, can still tear apart the space and create a stable and handy space. As for Pudding, he was also protected by the Ryotsu shield released by Aizen and left together. Looking at the four who left, Charlotte Lingling looked gloomy and ruthless. Pick up the phone bug and make a call. Moses, Kaido, it's me Lingling. Huh? Don't forget, you still owe me a huge favor? Advertisement, even if decades have passed, it is still a great kindness, but it will not disappear. 35. 66.99 A few days after the three Aizen left, the Straw Hat crew came to the nations. And the big event in the original happened, but because the Straw Hat Luffy is stronger than the original. This time, the big event of Anti made them a lot smoother, but in the end they still fled and left under the pursuit of Anti. The three of Aizen couldn't get it out, they were already in a state of being bombarded, and the people of Straw Hat crew were doing things. Undoubtedly, it became the scourge that made the Big Mom pirates go berserk. They attacked decisively and chased down the Straw Hat crew more crazily. This incident soon shocked the whole world, and the Straw Hat Luffy also became the super pirate in the sea, known as the Fifth Emperor. The reward amount, 1.5 billion Bailey, a few days later. Pirate Expo. This is an island that seems to be divided into several parts. The center of the island is a round hole sea, which is the location for the next performance competition. The surrounding rock walls were transformed into auditoriums. This is the Pirate Expo organized by the organizer Festa, which is a pirate island formed by the gathering of pirates. All the pirates with names and surnames were invited, and among them, the Supernova was the leader, and thousands of pirates gathered. Held a battle for One Piece, the great treasure of the nautical compass left by Gold D. Roger. The Straw Hat crew were the pirates invited by the organizer Festa. It's amazing, this ability. Luffy and the others took the pirate ship Thousand Sunny and entered the sea. In the sea area of Haikou, the performing circus is trying its best to perform magic. Among them, Annie, who ate the phantom fruit, was casting a fat-bellied fire dragon, which was a phantom displayed by her phantom fruit ability. Huh, it's really not easy to escape from that ant's pursuit. 35. Advertisement. When it comes to the Big Mom pirates, Nami, who is wearing conservative clothes, still has some fear on her delicate and pretty face. Such a terrifying pirate group with so many powerful warriors and armies. If it wasn't for the strength of their captain, Luffy, maybe they wouldn't be able to escape. 110. And those furry friends. Several people on the boat sighed slightly. What I didn't expect was that the historical text saved by Aunt Lin was gone. According to Charlotte's cadres, it was taken by a terrifying monster called Aizen and handed over to the legendary Kingdom of Terror. Mature and intellectual Oni-san Robin's beautiful white cheeks are full of solemnity and doubts. Such important things, even the world government pays attention to and wants to get or destroy things. How could Auntie be willing to give it to others? The legendary kingdom? 35. The people of Straw Hat crew suddenly cast curious glances. Well, that legendary terrifying kingdom, the kingdom of Christie. Robin nodded and continued. That kingdom, you should have known about it 2 years ago, and the king of its kingdom, you have all met once. 5. The man who appeared on Saboti Archipelago, even Marine Admiral Kizaru didn't dare to move. Christie Davy. Quiet. The voice fell. The group fell silent, and Luffy clenched his fists. Kingman. Chapter 173 Crazy Devil Successor Bullet. The third update, ask for automatic subscription. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement for this man who once helped him, is now a man who has become his enemy. Luffy's heart is actually quite complicated. On the battlefield of the Summit War 2 years ago, the pirates of the Whitebeard Pirates helped themselves through the difficulties many times, all the way to Ace's execution platform. For helping him successfully rescue Ace, Luffy is grateful to the Whitebeard Pirates. But more than a year ago, all of these people were wiped out by the legions of Christie Kingdom. And the person who issued this extermination order was the man who helped him 2 years ago. Both sides had helped him, and Luffy had considered Davy a friend. However, when all the members of the Whitebeard Pirates were annihilated, that friendship was broken. At least Luffy himself thinks so. That guy? This man is the most dangerous man in the ocean today. More than a year ago, the bounty of 3 billion Baileys had changed to 6.5 billion. More than a billion Baileys than the former One Piece Roger. Now he is the most dangerous man with the highest bounty in the world. Usopp's eyes widened at the mention of Davy. Obviously what Davy does is constantly refreshing the eyes of people all over the world. The original world government directly raised Davy's bounty to 6.5 billion after the Red Line was beheaded. Even Ulquiorra, from the 1.38 billion Bailey that had been offered a bounty in the first shot, killed the Admiral Reservist T. Dolphin in the second shot, and beat Kizaru to the brink of death. After this event, the bounty was raised to 1.8 billion Bailey. And that time, after one person crushed 5 elders in Panchung City, the bounty was raised to an outrageous level. 3 billion Baileys. It was also the amount when Davey was first offered a bounty. Advertisement: the bounty for the red-haired shanks of the 4 emperors is only 4,048,900,000 Bailey. Fear. It's still that Ulquiorra has done too little, and hasn't done much damage to the cataclysm. That's why the 3 billion Bailey bounty was tentatively set. Well, it's really scary, but don't worry, I will definitely protect Miss Robin and Miss Nami. Shanks lit the cigarette with a snap, and exhaled the smoke. Then his eyes immediately turned into red hearts, and he looked like a pig. HMPH, as long as it's an enemy, just chop them all away. 35. Zoro grinned, showing a warlike smile. Forget it, let's not talk about this. The event is about to start, let's get in quickly. 99. When it comes to this topic, the atmosphere on the whole ship is not right. Robin was dumbfounded, chose to ignore this heavy topic, and quickly changed the subject. Oh, sure enough, when the topic changed, everyone's mentality changed. Seeing this, Robin was also secretly relieved. Looking at the crew members who became happy again, Robin, the mature and intellectual Oni-san, couldn't help but fall into another picture in his mind. That day, she had met 3 men. The other party chatted with her a lot, and finally told her that he wanted to get all the historical text and explore all the truth. You can go to the kingdom of Christie and meet their king. Christie Davey. Advertisement. Hey, sighs silently. Robin doesn't want to think so much for the time being. When the day comes when there is no solution, let's make a decision. Time passed quickly, and the World Expo started the competition to compete for the great secret treasure left by Roger, the eternal pointer of the final island. The other side. Marines' warships are also heading towards this island. The purpose is to destroy all the pirate groups on the entire island. And, try to fight, BIFD, the eternal pointer of the final island. Not to mention the dozens of marine fleets that had already entered the field. In addition to other vice admirals like Fujitora Admiral and Smoker. Naval headquarters dispatched a large number of marine. A fleet of 25 marine warships, a buster call fleet led by Perusalino Admiral. It's really scary, tens of thousands of pirates headed by the new generation of supernova pirates, so many pirates gather here. After entering the range of the island, the first round of shooting will take place 10 minutes later. 99. Consume these terrifying pirates first. 35 Pulsalino, who had moderate white on his temples, still had an extremely wretched tone. Putting both hands into kabuto, he ordered the island as he watched the clear island approaching. Yes. Admiral San. Among the islands. At this moment, the sea area in the center of the island has undergone earth-shaking changes, and it has been almost filled up by a large number of rock, soil, mountain and shipwrecks. The man who caused a massacre that shocked the world more than 20 years ago. Advertisement: the devil's heir, Deathless Bullet appears. Arrogantly challenge all supernovas, and do it alone. In the face of the combined onslaught of the supernovas, Bullet showed his terrifying strength and beat everyone. Under everyone's astonished attention, Bullet directly used the fruit awakening. Taste my power well. Ha 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 ha. As Bullet laughed frantically, a large amount of purple streamers appeared from the huge robot he controlled, spreading rapidly across the island like magma. Whether it is the mountains, rocks and forests on the island, building ships, etc., all of them were swallowed up by him and turned into his power. Hundreds of marine fleets and pirate ships docked on the coast were also swallowed up by it. Immediately afterwards, a huge black-blue half-length werewolf monster with a height of several kilometers appeared. Ow! The smoky wolf-shaped monster roared throughout the entire island waters. Then, under his control, the edge of the entire island rose up and rolled inward, trapping everyone on the island. All the people, whether it was marine or pirate, all had expressions of horror on their faces. Seeing this sudden change in the situation, everyone felt an incredible sense of absurdity. How did they all turn into lambs to be slaughtered all of a sudden? Go to hell. Marine. Bullet's face is gloomy and fierce, and his hideous face shows incomparable madness. Chapter 174: Break the defense. The tornado is angry. Fourth more, please complete the order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement: now that he has awakened with the ability of the fusion fruit, he devoured everything on the surface of the entire island, enough to kill all the marines and pirates here. Whether it's Marine Admiral, or whatever, in front of him, they are all trash characters that can be pinched. These tens of thousands of pirates are just bait he uses to practice his skills and attract marines by the way. He wants to destroy all these people, be his return to the sea, as a stepping stone for him to become the strongest man in the world. The ultimate cannon. Base. A large number of armament hockey entangled, the entire 100-meter huge arm fist instantly turned black and purple and punched out. Boom. Several marines who rushed up were instantly killed. Is this late? Then we can go back. 35, it's almost over. The sunset red sky, 3 figures stand above the sky. Looking at Marine and the pirates playing hot below, the first Espada Stark said in a lazy tone. Seeing the gaff development below, he was clearly entering the final white-hot battle. They are only here now, what else is there for them to do? Well, it might as well be a coincidence, the petite figure snorted softly. The battle has heated up, and it has become clear who should clean up. Now is the best time to end the game. Advertisement? What are the 3 little bugs doing hiding? It was at this moment that the huge werewolf-shaped monster of several kilometers noticed 3 figures in the sky. With a cold snort, he waved his arms several hundred meters long, wrapped in terrifying wind pressure, and slammed the three of them with a punch. Bullet's sudden bombardment toward the sky made everyone on the ground feel puzzled for a while. Why is this guy going to blow air all of a sudden? Is it out of control? No, take the opportunity to run for your life? The weak Marines and pirates naturally didn't know that there were still people in the sky. The CPOs Lu Chi and the other powerhouses started observation hockey and sensed the location of the Bullet's attack. There are indeed 3 oars. For a while, I became curious as to who could hide in the sky for so long. Only now has it been discovered by Bullet. Humph. How rude, you ugly monster. The petite, delicate and cute figure with emerald green curly hair snorted coldly, her body exuding radiance, and she raised her hand. A terrifying invisible force gathered together, turned into a huge air-compressed cannonball, and then burst out. Bang bang. The two forces collided with each other, and a terrifying shockwave erupted, and the strong wind pressure swept in all directions. The roar of the collision shook the entire island, and everyone felt their ears buzzing, and they twitched their facial muscles with some tingling. He stopped and looked at the two sides that were touching in the sky, and his face suddenly showed shock and shock. Who is that guy? So strong, like a teenage girl. What are you kidding? Teenage labor is still eating. You goddamn bastard, you're so rude as a teenager, does your mother know? 66.99 Marine and the pirates quarreled inexplicably. Advertisement: a group of supernovae are watching the confrontation in the sky, more than they are the supernovae who influence the new generation. Now they have been beaten into dogs by the other party, and a little girl who came out has resisted Bullet's terrifying punch. This made them so-called supernovae feel a blushing shame. Damn it. 39, Bullet, you wait for lousy. 99 Kid exclaimed in exasperation. Amazing. Who is this cute girl? Luffy's eyes were dignified, not discouraged by being defeated by Bullet once. Seeing that petite figure block Bullet's attack, he suddenly screamed. Marine sighed. Mr. Fujitora, do you know that girl? Smoker was surprised. The vice admirals were knocked out by one punch. That girl was able to block Bullet's punch by herself. 6,699. Are you polite? Fujitora was speechless. I'm afraid Smoker is also blind, right? Ask for flowers. To ask him such a question as a blind man, can he see the other person's whole face? Seemingly aware of his agitated stupidity, Smoker blushed and apologized to Fujitora. It's so stupid to ask such a question subconsciously. For flowers on the sky, the two forces were exhausted, and Bullet retracted his huge arm. Huh? There are 2 brushes, baby, advertisement. But if you want to stop me, you should go back and drink for another 2 years. Seeing that the petite figure actually blocked his casual punch, Bullet was surprised, and then sneered disdainfully. The ultimate cannon. .0 base. The black-purple armament hockey wrapped around the entire arm that was hundreds of meters long, and Bullet waved his arm, bursting out a punch that was even bigger than before. Bang. The air was directly blown up, and a punch with 1,000,000 kilograms of gravity blasted out, and the sound of breaking the air shook. This terrifying punch fell, and the entire island could be smashed in half. However, in the face of this punch, Tornado puffed out his cute cheeks and scolded angrily. You bastard fish, you are the doll. Destroy me. The tornado thought power that was being broken by Bullet's words broke out, raised his hand, and suddenly the sky was rolling. The terrifying and boundless psychic power erupted, and a huge fist that was formed by extreme compression and condensation of psychic power appeared. The next moment, fist bump, bang bang, rumbling rumbling. The explosion that shook the world exploded, and in the horrified eyes of everyone, Bullet's huge fist of hundreds of meters suddenly burst and shattered. It turned into a sky full of rubble, fragments of buildings and ships, and fell down. What? Seeing this, Bullet's eyes widened suddenly, very unbelievable. This is the punch that he entangled with armament hockey, and was smashed by a little girl like this? Bullet. Chapter 175 Meteorite Group, Fearful Marine Pirates, 5th update, please complete order. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement with a roar resounded through the clouds. At this time, Luffy, who had changed into the rubber 4th gear mode, turned his feet into jets, roared at a high speed, and flew into the sky. Pulling the Ape King's spear with the 3rd gear color to shoot a Bullet, this entangled armament hockey's giant fist, even Bullet felt a little pressure when he saw it. Go away. Only, just when the all-out 4th gear Luffy was about to hit the Bullet with one punch. Tornado snorted in an extremely unpleasant manner, and the terrifying power directly blasted Luffy into the air. This stinky guy, I'll take care of it myself. Seeing that this ugly guy with a strange posture was going to snatch her opponent, the tornado that had already given Bullet the death penalty in his heart was slightly furious. Without hesitation, he activated his ability and blasted it away. Even Lord Davey praised her, 110, figure and said that she liked her type very much. I don't mind at all. I love her very much, now being scolded by an ugly monster, not to mention how angry Tornado is now. Damn it, this guy is so strong. The face of Luffy, who was blasted away by the psychic power, changed greatly, and he couldn't help but be amazed. But for the tornado's move, obviously still very unconvinced. This guy who hurt his partner should be dealt with by himself. However, in the next scene, Luffy's eyes flashed with gold stars, and he did not continue to do his best for a while. Meteorites fall. In the sky, the tornado's eyes flickered, and the slender white jade hand directed the sky, and then aimed at the huge werewolf-shaped monster thousands of meters away. Said in a nonchalant tone. Soon, under the shocking gaze of the whole island, a huge meteorite fell with fiery flames and black smoke. Advertisement: the target is the 1,000-meter-tall monster incarnated by Bullet. What? Meteorite, run away. Is this guy crazy, to summon a meteorite attack? Damn it, 35. Damn it, was this meteor summoned by Fujitora Admiral, or that girl? Flee, this meteorite will fall, at least half of the island will be sunk. The pirates are crazy. Fujitora had summoned a meteor before, and it was split in half by the swordsman of the Straw Hat Pirates. Then he was completely smashed by Mahawk, the world's largest swordsman. Now another meteorite? Even those on Marine's side were dumbfounded. Now the whole island is besieged and sealed off, and a meteorite just fell down like this. What a terrible disaster did this cause? A group of Marine Vice Admiral Rear Admiral Marines looked at Fujitora, but found that Fujitora Admiral also did not use the ability. That's really the ability of that terrifying girl in the sky. Turn to ashes. Tornado hummed, looking at Bullet coldly. Humph. Mere meteorites. Bullet naturally saw the flaming meteorite falling from space and hitting him. But he just grinned grimly, manipulated the joystick in his hand, and wrapped a stronger armament hockey on the huge arms that were already wrapped with armament hockey, turning it into black and purple. The ultimate destruction cannon. Bullet fiercely roared and roared, his arms swung and attacked, and the meteorite with a size of hundreds of meters fell. Bang bang. Advertisement: the black and purple arms blasted out iron fists, intercepting the meteorite, terrifying power erupted, and Bullet roared. The two arms waved, turning into two violent fist shadows, and in an instant, the meteorite shattered. It turned into a sky full of flame debris and fell, throwing the island in all directions. Ha 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 ha, but that's it. Bang bang smashed the meteorite with two punches, and Bullet smiled disdainfully. I thought how powerful it was, but I didn't expect it to be thunder and rain, and he was directly beaten by two punches. This guy is really courting death. Seeing the arrogant and sarcastic Bullet, Lynette couldn't help but feel pity for him. This is where it is, the strength of the tornado can also be ranked first in the kingdom. It's just smashing a meteorite, so dare to be so arrogant. Stark nodded in agreement. Indeed, tornado is also a 6th order strength. With her strength, a meteorite group can be pulled down from space in an instant to attack. This guy gets carried away with the huge body that he has fused. In fact, it is just a huge target. However, Stark's voice did come true. But so? Look up at the sky again. Sure enough, hearing Bullet's arrogant voice and arrogant gesture, Tornado sneered. Psychic power is activated, above the outer space of the Earth. The dozen or so star stones floating and wandering in space suddenly shook, and a thought force controlled the traction. The dozen or so meteorites were instantly pulled, and fell fiercely towards the Earth, dragging the black smoke tail of flames. Hearing this, Bullet suddenly felt an extremely unpleasant feeling in his heart. Advertisement: then he saw the last picture of this life. The entire sky was dyed a destructive red, and dozens of meteorites rushed towards the face with the terrifying aura of destroying the world. This. How is this possible? Run away, crazy. Is this going to blow up the whole island? Damn. Who is this girl? Fujitora only pulled down one meteorite at a time, she pulled down a dozen? Mom, I'm done. 66.99 The pirates and marines were all taken aback by this scene. A dozen meteorites all fell down, can they still be alive? What a joke, that's a meteorite, and there are more than a dozen, all aimed at the meteorites that fell from this island. Mr. Fujitora, 5.3, what about this? Smoker was horrified, cold sweat oozing from his forehead, and his heart was beating wildly. This scene in front of him really scared everyone stupid. No one could imagine that such a petite girl would be able to do this. Escape. It's up to the old man to open the way. Fujitora's top observation Haki, naturally, also felt this extremely terrifying catastrophe, not to mention the fearful shouting of his subordinates. Sweat dripped from Fujitora's forehead, and said in a heavy tone.